Chapter 1751. Whether it was out of jealousy or other reasons. As President Su's female companion, her background would definitely be pulled out. National institutions were very serious places that represented the image of the country. When Wu Xianro was mentioned, the first thing people thought of was the military force behind her. The higher-ups didn't want to be mentioned every day. These people risked their lives and didn't want to be mentioned by gossip magazines every day. Wu Xianro didn't represent the country's military. Those who didn't know would think that the daughters of high-ranking officials were all such people. Wu Jingwei had a headache. He knew that his daughter was stubborn, so he found Song Yi, who was most suitable for her and could tolerate her. But something still happened. Wu Jingwei told his daughter not to interact with President Su, who was a businessman. Besides, a businessman wasn't good enough for Wu Xianro. Wu Xianro immediately cried and made a fuss, saying that she and President Su were truly in love. "Dad, you're just a stubborn old man." Wu Jingwei was so angry that he almost had a heart attack. Wu Xianro was the kind of person who didn't care about worldly affairs. Love was everything. The more he objected, the more she wanted to be with President Su. President Su was a businessman. After being warned, he wanted to draw a clear line with Wu Xianro. But Wu Xianro didn't. She had given her body to President Su, and she had also fallen in love with him. She couldn't leave him. In short, this sadistic love affair was so deep that it could make one's heart twitch in pain. From a spoiled marriage to a sadistic relationship, this change was a little big. It was as fast as a tornado. Wu Xianro was walking on the path of a scam. Her father repeatedly told her not to be with President Su, and he was a playboy. How could he compare to Song Yi, who had a bright future? Scholars, farmers, businessmen, how could they compare to people in politics and the army? Wu Jingwei felt that his daughter's head was filled with grass. In addition, someone spread the news that Wu Jingwei's daughter chased after her husband. Song Yi was on a dangerous mission, and she ran over. She ran over recklessly and was hijacked. Then, she was rescued and entangled with a playboy in the business world. At least in the military compound, Song Yi was a soldier who risked his life for the country. He had meritorious deeds on his chest. At least the public opinion was biased towards Song Yi. Song Yi also received pity from many soldiers. Under such circumstances, even Wu Zheng was transferred out of the military compound to work in other departments. On one hand, there was something wrong with Wu Jingwei. On the other hand, it was normal for everyone to kick a man who is down. After all, the military compound was such a serious place. How could it appear in a magazine? How could a reporter who knew how to hold a pen be able to spout nonsense? She even said that the entire military force was Wu Xianro's backer. How could she be so shameless? Ning Shu smiled at this. Some people wouldn't turn back unless they hit the wall. Even if they hit the wall, they would break the wall and continue walking, all for the sake of the incomparably great love in their hearts. The strong obsession in his heart was just to be together, to be together. Ning Shu's application to be a deputy cadre was approved, and his salary was also increased. This made Ning Shu very happy. There were also a few other men who were appointed at the same time. Old second brother was one of them, and when he received the appointment letter, the two of them met and smiled. "Congratulations," said the second brother, Ning Shu. Ning Shu was also very happy. "I thought I would definitely not pass because I was a woman. This place looks at ability, not gender." "Also, your resume is there," said the second brother. Ning Shu nodded and asked, "I've been on missions recently." "How's the boss?" "You still don't know. The boss is in confinement. He will be out after a while. Confinement is just a formality. When the boss comes out, he will definitely be promoted," said the second brother. Ning Shu really didn't care much about this matter. Even if Song Yi was no longer Wu Xianro's official partner, the conditions were there. Ning Shu nodded. As long as Song Yi didn't marry Wu Xianro, her mission would be considered completed. Beautiful things were easily broken. Relationships had to be carefully managed and maintained. They didn't have to feel love through strong feelings, which would eventually turn into a trickle of water. A trickle of water could go on for a long time. It was like a flood that would be weak and tired. Ning Shu returned to his room and turned on his computer to look at the gossip news. The gossip magazines were saying that President Su had changed female partners again. They said that he changed female partners like he changed clothes. It was already like this, but Wu Xianro was still by President Su's side. Ning Shu believed that President Su would definitely be moved by Wu Xianro. After all, Wu Xianro had the halo of true love. She would definitely obtain true love. Even if he was a playboy, he would eventually become a loyal person. From then on, he would stay by her side and wouldn't be interested in other women. He would have no feelings for them. If it was even more exaggerated, he might not have any physiological reaction to other women. Ning Shu felt that Wu Xianro was poisonous. Ning Shu met Song Yi in the cafeteria. Song Yi had just come out of confinement. He felt that Song Yi had lost a lot of weight after not seeing him for a while. Song Yi saw Ning Shu and came over with a tray. He sat opposite Ning Shu and opened his chopsticks. Ning Shu said, "I heard from second brother that you've passed the application for deputy cadre. Congratulations." Ning Shu smiled. This was something to be happy about. "Thank you. It's good to see you guys like this. Everyone is moving up. That's good." Song Yi nodded with a gratified look on his face. "We'll be recruiting some female special forces soldiers this year. You might go over to train the new recruits," Song Yi said as he ate. Soldiers couldn't eat as elegantly and slowly as they ate in a Western restaurant. Song Yi ate very quickly. Ning Shu nodded. "It seems that I'm a cadre at the right time. You're lucky and you're capable. Besides, you're a soldier under me. You can't be bad." Ning Shu smiled. "Don't underestimate yourself." Ning Shu was speechless. "I'm not underestimating myself." Ning Shu looked at Song Yi. "You've come out. It's inevitable to be sad. But between Wu Xianro and I, we're not fated." Ning Shu peeled the rice and comforted him politely. "You'll meet the right person. We'll see." Song Yi didn't want to talk about this. Ning Shu looked at Song Yi. He suspected that Wu Jingwei's transfer out of the department had something to do with Song Yi. It was very awkward to stay in the same military compound. Also, Wu Jingwei was his superior. If he really wanted to make things difficult for him, it would be very easy. Most of the rumors in the military compound came from Shi Yi's side. Since he had already offended him, he might as well offend him completely and get rid of him. Of course, this was also borrowing the east wind. It was borrowing the east wind. If it wasn't for Wu Xianro, the fire wouldn't have spread to Wu Jingwei. Therefore, Ning Shu had reason to suspect Song Yi, although she had added fuel to the fire. Chapter 1752. For example, Wu Xianro's background was the entire military. She was the one who spread the news. Don't forget that Song Yi was an iron-blooded soldier who didn't hesitate to kill people. Once he wasn't possessed, his mind was still clear. If he wasn't clear-headed, he would be destroyed on the battlefield. No one was spared from Mary Sue's halo. Women were jealous and men loved. It was really scary. Ning Shu glanced at Song Yi from time to time. Song Yi asked, "What's wrong? I just didn't expect you to get over it so quickly." Ning Shu suspected that Song Yi was enduring the humiliation and waiting until he was strong enough to snatch Wu Xianro back. Then, it would be captivity play. Even if I can't get your heart, I still want your body. In short, all kinds of hardcore tastes. Ning Shu quickly shook his head. Sometimes, he really couldn't control his imagination. What can I do if I can't get over it? Wu Xianro is already in a relationship with that man. I haven't even kissed her, and Wu Xianro and he have already hit the home run. Song Yi said lightly. Ning Shu, is it appropriate to say this to me? Even so, Ning Shu still mocked him in his heart. The cabbage that he loved was eaten by a pig. One could imagine how he felt. However, Ning Shu's expression was very sympathetic. Song Yi finished his meal and left with his tray. Ning Shu grinned. In fact, this scene was quite sad. It was impossible for Wu Jing and Song Yi to be together. Song Yi knew that Wu Jing liked him, but he rejected her openly and secretly. There were still many things that could be done without love. As expected, Ning Shu was sent to train the new soldiers and teach them. They still hadn't found the origin of this world. Ning Shu had been paying attention to Wu Xianro's affairs. Well, it seemed that Wu Xianro was going to marry President Su. As for the reason, it was because Wu Xianro was pregnant. The plot had changed beyond recognition. TSK, the wind today was very noisy. Wu Xianro's father was an official. It was relatively easy for President Su to marry his daughter. Then, the grand wedding began. Ning Shu watched the video of the wedding. Of course, there were waves of ex-girlfriends who came to cause trouble. In short, it was a mess. Ning Shu looked at Wu Xianro who was touching her belly with a blissful expression. Perhaps this was the love and happiness that Wu Xianro wanted. Ning Shu only wanted to facepalm and say, "This is really bad luck." He just didn't know if Wu Xianro would come back to find Song Yi in the future. Song Yi instantly became the second male lead. Song Yi could be considered a blessing in disguise. After being confined, he was promoted by one rank, but he was transferred to another army. Their team could be considered to be disbanded. If the people's hearts were scattered, then they were scattered. In the end, everything had changed. Ning Shu smiled. That was more like it. After returning to reality, all that was left was ashes of exhaustion. Wu Xianro seemed to be a happy wife of a wealthy family. She liked to take selfies of her big belly and post them on Weibo to show off. She liked to show off in everything she did. She always posted some happy Weibo. Ning Shu's teeth almost fell out when she saw this. How empty must he be to frequently search for a sense of existence in the virtual network? Whatever she lacked, she desperately wanted to show it. Could it be that Wu Xianro and President Su were not happy married? Ning Shu flipped through the gossip magazine. Although President Su had restrained himself after getting married, there were still occasional scandals. Wu Xianro, who was pregnant, must have felt terrible when she saw these scandals. With Wu Xianro's character, she would definitely go back and question her husband. She would run with her big belly to catch them in the act and question them. "I love you so much, so why don't you love me?" She was simply a resentful woman. After a while, wouldn't she cause trouble? Character determined fate. He didn't know if President Su would be like Song Yi and dote on Wu Xianro unconditionally. Ning Shu felt that President Su was a businessman. Everything he did was about the return on investment. Businessmen valued profits. It would be difficult for him to be like Song Yi and Wu Xianro. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. Wu Xianro hadn't conquered President Su yet. Logically speaking, it should have been Mr. Lang who became his wife's slave after getting married. Ning Shu turned off the computer. Whether Wu Xianro was happy or not had nothing to do with him. However, seeing that she wasn't living a good life, Ning Shu still felt comfortable in his heart. All living things were suffering. Why could she get what she wanted without paying anything? The breakup of love could make Wu Xianro live a life worse than death. She would fall into self-pity and self-blame. Why did the heavens treat her like this? She loved so bitterly. Without love, there was no need to exist. It seemed that Wu Xianrou and President Su's marriage wasn't very happy now. Wu Xianrou was arrogant and needed someone to coax her. However, President Su was a man who had a woman with just a hook. Did he really have the patience to coax Wu Xianrou? Mission completed. Do you want to leave the mission world? 2333's voice sounded in Ning Shu's mind. Ning Shu woke up and thought about this mission. There shouldn't be anything left behind. The only regret was that he didn't find the origin of the world. He was speechless. Ning Shu said, "Let's go back." After being stunned, Ning Shu opened his eyes. He was already in the system space. Ning Shu lay on the sofa and opened his status panel to look at his harvest. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Mission Taker Points card, 131, 10 million points for 1 point card. Soul value, 4 health points, 3 wisdom, 6 luck, 6 charm, 1 spiritual power, 4 martial strength, 5 aptitude, 3 faith, 900 merit, 315 soul strength, 25 authorization ticket, none law comprehended, water rule pure heart, none items, calm halo, calming pill, faith halo, amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles, goddess of war, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate close combat technique, intermediate martial arts, intermediate poison technique, beginner business management. Knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, intermediate embroidery skill. Auras, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chen Shi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, best friend of a lifetime, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Healer of the dying, Zhu Sun Yang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty of the law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, communication between races, by San Yang's blessing, heart of the brave, Wang Ying's blessing. Completed Wu Jing's wish. She hoped that Song Yi wouldn't marry Wu Xianrou. She didn't want her brotherly and respected man to become like this. She also hoped that she could climb up and didn't want to be Song Yi's subordinate anymore. Mission completion rate, 100%. Mission reward, 6 points card, 7 attribute points, 60% soul strength, 4,000 faith, including previous world's accumulation. 5 merit points deducted. Chapter 1753. Although the harvest was not plentiful, Ning Shu was still very gratified because of this. Because this world did not have any mission enforcers chasing after her, her 2,000 merit points were not spent in vain. The missions in this world were not easy to do. If a mission enforcer targeting her appeared, the difficulty of the mission would double. Ning Shu did not know what background Hong Yu had. He was afraid that Hong Yu did not have to do it personally, and someone would do it for her. Her current strength was a little weak and needed to be dormant. No matter how dangerous it was, she had to maintain a smile. Ning Shu heaved a sigh of relief and added the attribute points. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27 level, Super Mission Enforcer Points card, 131 plus 6, 10 million points per card. Soul, 4 plus 1 life, 3 plus 1 wisdom, 6 plus 1 luck, 6 plus 1 charm, 1 plus 1 mental power, 4 plus 1 martial power, 5 plus 1 aptitude, 3 faith, 9,900 plus 4,000 merit, 4315-5 soul strength, 25 plus 5 authority ticket, none law comprehended, water rule pure heart, none items, calm aura, calming pill, faith aura, amulet 4. Upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary title, goddess of war, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate close combat technique, intermediate martial arts, intermediate poison technique, beginner business management knowledge, beginner code programming, beginner lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner cooking skill, intermediate embroidery skill. Aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Chen Shi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, best friend for life, Miao Miao Miao's blessing. Healer of the dying, Zhu Sunyang's blessing, founding woman, Chen Ermiai's blessing, beauty of the law, Chen Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, communication between races, by Sanyang's blessing, heart of the brave, Wang Ying's blessing. Ning Shu sat down and began to absorb the pure soul power. 60% of the soul power was not a small amount. After Ning Shu finished absorbing, he looked at his soul. He still felt stifled. Why was his soul still so weak? There was no change. Until now, it was not as strong as before. He still hadn't recovered the soul power he had lost when he became a divine beast. However, the lost soul power allowed her to enter the law space and become the law incarnation. Therefore, everything that was lost would return in another way. There were gains and losses. Ning Shu calmed his heart, and his soul could slowly grow stronger. After returning from a quest, he wondered how the chat group was doing. Were they still condemning her? Ning Shu opened the chat system. It seemed like no one was talking. Usually, this group was quiet, like a dead group. It was scary. Ning Shu scrolled through the chat history. It seems like these people aren't talking about the topic of #water law incarnation, tyrannical expulsion law incarnation # anymore. Previously, the crowd was still so turbulent, but now, the matter had passed. He probably felt bored seeing that the person involved hadn't come out yet. If Ning Shu and Hong Yu were to appear in the group and spit at each other in the group, it would be very lively. There was no need for two of them. If one of them was stirring up trouble in the chat group, it would be enough to excite the spectators. Ning Shu closed the chat group and looked at the messages sent to her by the others. Mei Ziqing sent him a message, saying that she was going to do a quest. If possible, help her take care of Xiaohua. She sent Xiaohua to the city lord residence of Water City. Ning Shu was speechless. This scammer. Ning Shu asked Mei Ziqing's system, "Why do you want me to take care of the man Mei Ziqing found?" Mei Ziqing's system replied, "Mei Ziqing can't bear to lock him in the quiet system space." Ning Shu was speechless. Mei Ziqing returned from a quest, placed Xiaohua in the city lord residence of Water City, and went to do another quest. Since it was Mei Ziqing's request, Ning Shu naturally had to go and take a look. Moreover, Xiaohua was a human formed by the world's origin under the nourishment of heaven and earth spirit qi. It wasn't easy. Ning Shu closed the chat system and prepared to go and take a look at Xiaohua. After all, Xiaohua was the world's origin. Mei Ziqing had spent all her wealth to buy him. He was still very eye-catching. What if he was kidnapped? Go to Water City, Ning Shu said. 2333 said, "It's time to collect taxes." You can go and collect taxes. Ning Shu's heart exploded with fireworks. She could finally get out of poverty. For Ning Shu, getting out of poverty was much more important than getting out of singlehood. She had too many things to do. And these things required money. Ning Shu's head was dizzy. She stood in Water City as if she was carsick. Ning Shu shook her head. Her soul power was too weak. Every time she was teleported, her soul felt like it was being needed. She felt terrible. Ning Shu went to her city lord residence. Floating in the air above the city lord residence, she saw a red-haired man sitting in the garden in a daze. The garden was full of colorful flowers. His long red hair was scattered on the ground. It was as beautiful as a painting. He was motionless like a painting. Ning Shu leaped into the air and arrived in front of him. Xiaohua raised his head and looked at Ning Shu. At first, he was wary, but he felt that the person in front of him looked familiar, so he didn't attack. Ning Shu asked, "What are you doing here?" "Ziqing told me to stay here," Xiaohua said. Fortunately, he could speak. "So you've been here all this time?" Ning Shu looked at him. Xiaohua nodded. Ning Shu's eyes turned. He had to find something for this young man. Sitting here like a fool was quite distressing. No wonder Mei Ziqing didn't lock him in the system space. Mei Ziqing had no choice. As a mission enforcer, she had to do missions to strengthen herself. Ning Shu asked Xiaohua, "Can you read?" Xiaohua shook his head. Ning Shu 2333 said, "Now, help me exchange for a book and a literacy card." Instead of sitting there like a fool, he might as well read. For a fool like him, reading was the fastest way to increase his intelligence. "Let's play a game now, he. Ning Shu said naively to Xiaohua. Xiaohua looked at Ning Shu in confusion. 2333 exchanged a lot of books for Ning Shu. They were all children's fairy tales and all kinds of short stories. Ning Shu took the calligraphy card and began to teach Xiaohua how to read. What surprised Ning Shu was that although this guy was naive, his ability to accept things was surprisingly strong. Ning Shu let Xiaohua practice on his own. She was going to go out to collect money. Seeing that Ning Shu was about to leave, Xiaohua hurriedly asked, "You're leaving?" Other than Mei Ziqing, this was the only person who was kind to him. Xiaohua was confused and helpless. "I have something to do. Watch over him. I'll be back later." Xiaohua made an "oh" sound, looking very cute. Chapter 1754. Ning Shu flew out of the city lord's mansion and checked the situation of Water City as he walked. However, Ning Shu found that Xiaohua, the flame essence, was emitting a faint red light and heat, which actually had an effect on the barrier of Water City. Water and fire countered each other. Water could extinguish fire, but fire could also evaporate water. Ning Shu pointed his finger and arranged a barrier around the city lord's mansion to block the power of Xiaohua and Water City. Then, he began to reinforce the huge barrier of Water City. Ning Shu now cherished Water City as if it was his own eye. This was his money tree. After reinforcing it several times, Ning Shu landed on the street and walked into a shop at random. Tax collection. Then, Ning Shu received a sum of money and collected it wherever he went. These small shops did not collect much tax, and the biggest taxpayers were places like gambling houses and restaurants. Ning Shu looked at his account. It was now close to 100,000 faith power. There were still some taxpayers who had not collected it. Ning Shu stood at the entrance of the gambling house and walked in with a smile. The imperial advisor was already waiting for Ning Shu and gave Ning Shu 200,000 merit points. Ning Shu almost fainted from the sheer amount of merit. Fuck, she only got 20,000 merit points for saving a lousy plane. 200,000 merit points. Ning Shu's account never had so many merit points. Ning Shu's heart was bursting with fireworks and he was bursting with joy. Ning Shu's face was very calm and he asked indifferently, "Did you evade taxes?" The imperial advisor, who was wearing a deep robe with wide sleeves, brushed his sleeves and cupped his hands. "I dare not hide anything." Ning Shu nodded and turned to leave. Looking at the lively gambling house, it was really a place to make money. Ning Shu wanted to do business. However, Ning Shu did not know how to do business. Ning Shu collected some taxes along the way. Although it was not much, it was still meat. Ning Shu stood at the entrance of the auction house. This place should be more profitable than the gambling house. Ning Shu wanted to enter the auction house, but he was told that he had to pay 500 merit points to enter. Ning Shu was speechless. "I'm here to collect taxes, but you're telling me that you're going to charge an entrance fee." Ning Shu looked at the gatekeeper with a smile. "Do you see the water droplets on my head? I'm here to collect taxes." Ning Shu felt unfriendly. The auction house was more arrogant than she had imagined. "The city lord has arrived. Please come in, please come in." A woman gracefully walked over. Ning Shu looked at her with an indifferent expression. The gatekeeper doesn't know the city lord, please forgive him. The woman smiled at Ning Shu. Ning Shu also smiled. Was the symbol between her eyebrows just for show? How could they not know each other? A show of strength. Ning Shu felt that the road to taxation today might not be so smooth. City lord, please. The woman led Ning Shu to a luxurious box. Speaking of which, this is the first time the city lord has come to the auction house. The woman poured tea for Ning Shu. I've been here before. Ning Shu said indifferently. The woman smiled, looking very tactful. It's our fault for not treating you well. Ning Shu said directly, I'm here to collect taxes. What's the use of saying more? Pay up. Yes. The woman smiled and gave Ning Shu 100,000 points of faith. Ning Shu saw 100,000 points of faith and almost slammed the table. Was she trying to get rid of a beggar? The auction house only made so little profit. The price of the items was so high that people's hearts were about to explode. What was the point of giving such a tax? Ning Shu's face turned ugly. Your auction house's business is so bad. Why hasn't it closed down yet? The woman smiled, looking very charming. Our auction house has always paid this much. We've always paid this much. Ning Shu sneered, that's all you're going to give? City lord, we've always paid this much. The woman picked up the teacup and said. Ning Shu's face was indifferent. In fact, I shouldn't be collecting taxes from the auction house, right? If the city lord is magnanimous, then our auction house would like to thank the city lord for his kindness. The woman didn't seem to understand the meaning behind Ning Shu's words and went along with Ning Shu's words. Ning Shu laughed in his heart. To be so self-righteous, it seemed that the power behind the auction house wasn't small. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so arrogant. Ning Shu stood up. No matter how small 100,000 is, it's still meat. Why wouldn't I take it? Today, I can take 100,000, I can take millions. No need to send me off. Ning Shu walked out of the auction house and turned to look at the majestic auction house. When the time comes, I'll make you spit it out with interest. I don't want much from you, but I'll swallow what I deserve. Hee, manager, is it really okay to only give 100,000? The woman said to the curtain. A pair of jade-white hands parted the curtains, and a man appeared from the curtains. It's fine. It's just a woman who was lucky enough to become the city lord of Water City. I've never heard of such a person before. The man said indifferently. Ning Shu went to Shu Bai's restaurant. Shu Bai transferred 150,000 faith power to Ning Shu. Just look, there were more restaurants than auction houses. This was a complete humiliation, as if they were beggars. Who's behind the auction house? Ning Shu drank 2 cups of tea and asked Shu Bai. Shu Bai said gently, the strength of someone who can open an auction house can't be underestimated. Did you not pay enough taxes? Ning Shu was very unhappy, but he didn't seem to have any other choice. Should he go and complain? He didn't even have the ability to collect taxes. That would be embarrassing. This was a world where the strong were respected. Crying would only make others look down on him. After leaving the restaurant, Ning Shu collected some taxes along the way and walked to the door of the consultation room. Haha, shouldn't the silver-haired man pay her taxes? Ning Shu walked in. The air was rippling with the elegant fragrance of agarwood. Ning Shu sat down on a chair and waited for the silver-haired man to come out. After a while, the silver-haired man opened the curtain and came out of the room. The book in his hand never left his hand. When the silver-haired man saw Ning Shu, his expression didn't change. He sat down and asked, "What do you want to consult this time?" Ning Shu smiled. "I'm not here to consult. You must have forgotten something." The silver-haired man glanced at Ning Shu and fixed his gaze on Ning Shu's forehead. "I'm here to collect money this time. The silver-haired man asked. Ning Shu, isn't that obvious? Ning Shu was very happy. In the past, it was the silver-haired man who collected money from her. She really needed money every time she stayed. Now that she could take money from the silver-haired man, she couldn't be happier. Ning Shu took a deep breath of the agarwood and felt a cool aura gathering in her soul. It was very comfortable. If you have the ability, ask for money from me. Ning Shu smiled reservedly. Give me the money. The silver-haired man glanced at the smug Ning Shu indifferently. Ning Shu blinked. Give me money. What are you waiting for? Are you trying to go back on your word? Or are you saying that the consultation room has no business and no money? Ning Shu looked at the silver-haired man and was speechless. The silver-haired man thought for a moment and said, I don't have any taxes, but I can let you consult a question for free. Chapter 1755. One question in exchange for taxes. Ning Shu smiled and said, You must be joking with me. The silver-haired man, I'm not joking, free questions. Ning Shu spat in his mind, one question in exchange for taxes, over 10,000 merit and faith to ask a question, keep dreaming. Thank you, I don't have any questions to ask right now, I don't have any questions to answer right now. Ning Shu directly said. Besides, you already owe me a free question. 3 free questions, 2 have already been used, 1 left. Why use her taxes in exchange for a question? It's not worth it at all. The silver-haired man thought for a bit and said, How's your world construction going? It's okay. Ning Shu said half-heartedly. Give me money, give me money. Actually, even if you collect 5 world origins, you still won't be able to construct a world. The silver-haired man said. Why? Ning Shu asked a bit anxiously, then realized the silver-haired man's intentions. Sure enough, he's a stingy profiteer, to avoid paying taxes, he's really willing to do anything. But since it's related to his world construction, Ning Shu didn't dare to be careless. Looking at the silver-haired man's expressionless yet faintly smug expression, he felt like he was going to die. And the silver-haired man didn't even tell him how much taxes there were. Ning Shu cursed in his mind. How would he know how much money he spent to ask a question? Ning Shu calmed down and asked, Let's talk about taxes, how much? Not much, my consultation room doesn't have any business. The silver-haired man said, Do you want to ask about the construction of a world? Ning Shu asked in his mind, Why can't I construct a world after collecting 5 world origins? If you don't say something today, I'm going to smash your shop, what a profiteer. The silver-haired man calmly said, There are 3 reasons. Firstly, 5 world origins aren't enough. Secondly, a world can only be considered a world if there are living beings. Thirdly, the living beings can only be balanced if there's life and death, so you need a reincarnation world. Ning Shu's face was expressionless. You told me you only need 5 world origins. I'm going to kill you. The silver-haired man was fearless and didn't care about Ning Shu's accusation at all. Is this question enough for tax? The silver-haired man asked. Ning Shu crossed his legs and rested his hands on his knees. I'm all ears. In addition to metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, there is also light and darkness. Therefore, the construction of a world requires 7 world origins. Ning Shu thought, this bitch is really a half-truth. Previously, she had wasted a free question and received half a message. If you do business like this, your consulting office should close down. She had already collected 3 world origins and was only missing 2. Now, 2 more had appeared. Ning Shu felt that it would be very difficult to find a light and dark attribute. Ning Shu looked at the silver-haired man unhappily. What's the second question? Can't a plane evolve into a living being on its own? The silver-haired Ning Shu asked. When the conditions are suitable, creatures will naturally be produced. The important reincarnation world. The silver-haired male said. Ning Shu asked, how do you make a reincarnation world? The silver-haired man shook his head. Actually, it's also building a world. In other words, you have to build two worlds, and this world should be the place where the soul belongs. Ning Shu had a headache and rubbed his forehead. What a mess. He was tired and didn't want to explain. Ning Shu wished that he had never come to this place. And even if the silver-haired man was consulting people, he would hide a lot of things and wait for the customer to ask next time. Profiteer, I hope you go bankrupt soon. Ning Shu looked at the silver-haired man. About building a world, is there anything else you're hiding? The silver-haired man closed his book. I've given you all the information I need. Ning Shu took a deep breath, his chest was filled with the smell of agarwood. He had to take enough. Is there anything else you want to ask? The silver-haired man asked. Ning Shu stood up. No need. I hope that the next time I come to collect taxes, you can still use this method to evade me. I will. The silver-haired man took his book and went into the inner room. Ning Shu walked out of the consulting room and turned back to look at the door. This place was really dark, very dark. They only took in and didn't take out. Even if it was taxes, they had to think of a way to avoid it. Ning Shu returned to the city lord's residence to see Little Hua. Little Hua saw Ning Shu and put down the book in his hand. Ning Shu asked, I don't understand. Ning Shu looked at the book on the table. These books are too complicated for you. Read these books. Ning Shu passed the children's book with pictures and stories to Little Hua. Read these now. I'm leaving. Stay here in the future. Don't leave the city lord's residence if you have nothing to do. Mei Ziqing will come back to find you after she finishes her mission. Ning Shu said. Little Hua nodded. I understand. Don't leave the city lord's residence if you have nothing to do. You're a fire attribute world origin. You're a treasure, so don't run around. Ning Shu told Xiaohua that if they were to fight with someone in Water City, the fire element would affect the enchantment of Water City. Mei Ziqing didn't care and brought Little Hua to Water City. He didn't know when Mei Ziqing would return. Little Hua nodded obediently. I understand. I won't go out. Ning Shu looked at his hair that was dragging on the ground. Why didn't you cut your hair? It was as uncomfortable as a mop, and it was easy to hook his hair. Ah, his hair was hooked. Ah, his hair was pressed down. Ah, he tripped over his own hair. How interesting. Little Hua touched his hair. Ziqing said it looked good. Ning Shu, Mei Ziqing's unique beauty. Ning Shu nodded. As long as you're happy. Ning Shu left the city lord's residence and said to 2333, let's go back. She wanted to go back and see how much the taxes were this time. Ning Shu returned to the system space and immediately opened her attribute panel. She saw the merit and faith points. Merit, 654000 faith, 1115000. When Ning Shu saw this number, she was so happy that she wanted to faint. She felt like she had become rich overnight. Ning Shu clutched her chest. She felt that her heart was about to explode. Oh my God, this feels so good. A city's taxes. Ning Shu couldn't help but feel happy. So much money, so much money, so much money. From now on, she would be rich. Ning Shu thought for a moment and asked 2333, oh right, can I buy soul power? Ning Shu felt that she should spend money and be free. 2333 said indifferently, no. Soul power is something that is in high demand. Other than the mission reward, everything else has its uses. That's why the market doesn't sell it. Of course, there are still some, but it depends on whether you can find a way to buy it. But I don't know if the soul power is pure or not. Ning Shu, an impure soul couldn't be bought. There were too many impurities and it was easy to cause problems. Chapter 1756. She had been through a lot, and it was easy for her to go berserk. After absorbing impure soul power, she would be affected by the impurities in the soul power. Ning Shu sighed. He had money but couldn't spend it. Ning Shu lay down on the sofa and clicked on the video to see the situation after the client, Wu Jing, returned. In the video, Wu Jing was still wearing her military uniform. She looked even more valiant. Although Wu Jing wasn't as pretty as Wu Xianrou, she was taller. She trained the new recruits with a straight back. She was calm during missions and had the expectations of the country. Ning Shu scrolled through the video and looked at Song Yi. Song Yi was still rising up the ranks. He was an outstanding man in the military. However, he was also married. His superior had set them up. This woman was gentle and moving, as gentle as water. The two of them helped each other in their difficult times. Maybe it was because he had experienced Wu Xianrou's intense feelings that he chose this kind of woman. Hence, some people just couldn't be together. Without Wu Xianrou, Wu Jing still couldn't be together with Song Yi. However, there were other things besides love. Wu Jing didn't force Song Yi. Song Yi didn't like her. Love wasn't born even after a few years. Ning Shu smiled. He felt that even without Song Yi, Wu Jing could still find someone she liked. She would always meet someone she could respond to. Moreover, the beauty of life didn't necessarily mean that she didn't have love. If she had it, she would be lucky. If she didn't, it didn't mean that she was incomplete. Sometimes, flowers needed to wait before they could bloom into beautiful flowers. Ning Shu scrolled through the video and looked at Wu Xianrou's situation. Ning Shu wanted to see if Wu Xianrou was lucky. To be honest, Wu Xianrou made people jealous. However, she wasn't likable. It was as if all the good things in the world should fall on her head. Ning Shu looked at the video. In the video, Wu Xianrou gave birth to a boy. However, Wu Xianrou was always sad. She hugged her baby and cried. "Your father doesn't want us anymore." Wu Xianrou couldn't live without love. She was a rich man's wife. Her starting point was higher than ordinary people. She ate well, dressed well, and had enough money to do what she wanted to do. Moreover, she occupied the position of wife. This made the flirtatious people outside clench their teeth, but they couldn't do anything. Moreover, his father was a government official. She had such good conditions, yet she was sad and sorrowful for love every day. What the hell? Every day, she would wait until midnight for the man to come home. For those who knew, it was because of love. For those who didn't know, they would think that she was a woman from a feudal society. Her mind was filled with chastity, and she couldn't live without a man. Ning Shu found it ridiculous. It was really unlucky to be Wu Xianrou's child to have a crazy mother. Ning Shu turned off the video. Some people were born for love. Other than love, they lived by love. Ning Shu stretched. "I think we should walk around. Who knows, we might be able to find the world's origin. Besides, I have plenty of money now. Trading halls, auction houses, and high-end trading places like these should have these things. However, these things are rare and the chances of finding them are not high." 2333 explained. "Then let's search one city at a time. There are plenty of them anyway," Ning Shu said nonchalantly. In any case, he had plenty of time. Furthermore, the number of world origins had increased from 5 to 7. Damn, Ning Shu really wanted to cry. Moreover, the light and darkness attributes were not easy to find. Moreover, he had to find the world of reincarnation. Ning Shu didn't want to talk at all. 2333 sent Ning Shu to the Time City. Ning Shu took the lead and went to the trading hall to ask if there were any world origins. He spent another 300 merit points to enter the auction house. The entrance fee to the Time City's auction house was only 300, but the entrance fee to the Water City was 500. Ever since the Water City's auction house refused to pay Ning Shu's taxes, Ning Shu's favorability towards the auction house had gone into the negatives. One day, she would kick the auction house out of her Water City. Everything was because she wasn't strong enough to intimidate these people. Ning Shu inquired the people in the auction house and asked if there were any world origins. In the end, he was told that there weren't any. Ning Shu went to other cities to look and see if he could find any world origins. It would be best if he could use merit points and faith power to solve it. After all, there were so many mission enforcers. If she couldn't find the world origins, others might. In the end, Ning Shu found the Earth origin in the trading hall of the City of Gold. Ning Shu was overjoyed. The Earth origin was exactly what he needed. The stall owner was also a cunning person. The starting price was 100,000 merit points. Go to hell. The world origins fluctuated between 30,000 and 60,000 merit points. You can have fun if you want 100,000 merit points. When Ning Shu heard the price, he knew that she needed it. It didn't mean that he could rip her off. Wait, the price can be negotiated. Give me 50,000. If you can't do it, then forget it. Mei Ziqing was really generous back then. He gave her the metal origin for 50,000 merit points. The world origins were precious because they were rare. However, they didn't have many practical uses. Other than building a world, they didn't have many other uses. In the end, Ning Shu got the Earth origin for 60,000 merit points. After getting the world origins, Ning Shu went to other cities to look. Maybe he could find other world origins. With the earth, wood, fire, and metal attributes, if he could find water, he would have all 5 attributes. With the addition of light and darkness, he would have 7 attributes. Ning Shu entered the City of Darkness. However, the City of Darkness was very strange. It was pitch black. He couldn't see anything. Ning Shu said to 2333, "Let's go. I can't see anything." Without understanding the law of darkness, he couldn't see anything. Moreover, the law of darkness had some other power. It wasn't evil. It was just pure dark power. Ning Shu went to other cities. However, he didn't find the world origins. He was lucky to get the Earth origin, and it was exactly what he needed. Ning Shu returned to the system space and put the Earth origin into the ultimate martial art. The world origin of the Earth element existed in the form of a lump of mud. Moreover, the mud was soft. It could be molded into any shape. It was like plasticine. It could be molded into all kinds of shapes. The ultimate martial art slowly merged with the Earth origin. The Earth origin was thick. When it merged, it didn't cause as much of a commotion as the metal origin. The Xiaozhuan characters on the surface of the ultimate martial art became thicker. They turned from a bright gold to an earthy yellow. The characters also became more three-dimensional. He had already found 4 world origins. Ning Shu used his spiritual power to enter the ultimate martial art. It was a world of nothingness. It was white and boundless. The distance was covered by gray smoke. There weren't even mountains or rivers. With the Earth origin, there should be mountains and rivers. If there was the water origin, there would be rivers. As long as there were mountains and rivers, living beings could be born. Perhaps there were living beings in her world. Chapter 1757. Ning Shu had been using her spiritual power to check the ultimate martial arts. She didn't know how big this world was. Ning Shu felt that there was still a long way to go to build a world. 7 world origins and the world of reincarnation. World of reincarnation, what the hell? Why did she create a world of reincarnation? The silver-haired man really had a trick up his sleeve. She finally had some hope, but in the end, she received another blow. She didn't feel too good. Ning Shu placed the ultimate martial arts on the bookshelf. At least she had money now. It was great to be able to buy world origins with money. She also looked for it in the mission. It was faster than before. Ning Shu felt that the world origins were definitely not a problem, but the world of reincarnation stumped Ning Shu again. Did the world of reincarnation also need a world carrier? Where was she going to find a carrier for this world? Ning Shu felt a little numb. A world without living creatures was not a real world. Just like the silver-haired man said, living creatures had life and death. When they were born, they would be destroyed. Ning Shu sighed and asked 2333 somewhat dispiritedly, "Are there many mission takers who build worlds?" 2333 thought for a moment and said, "There shouldn't be many. Worlds are not that easy to build. Otherwise, you wouldn't be crazy now." Ning Shu was speechless. Am I crazy? No way. She just felt depressed because it really wasn't easy. Is it easy to build a world with one's own strength? So don't underestimate building worlds. There are so many mission takers, but those who have their own worlds have built less than 10% of them. The other 90% are still mediocre mission takers, people whose survival is not guaranteed, so don't cry out. 2333 said lightly. Ning Shu, oh, 2333, he said so much, but she only said one word. It felt like she was just being perfunctory. Ning Shu felt that she shouldn't be greedy. After all, she already had a world carrier and now found 4 world origins. She was already luckier than many people. If she had become a law incarnation earlier and had so much tax, she might have been able to get the world tree from the auction house. The world tree was said to be the top world carrier. One leaf could form a world. Regardless of how many leaves there were on a tree, it was a sight to behold. But now, it might have been bought by someone. Sigh, in the end, there was no fate. She had to properly construct her own peerless martial arts. Ning Shu sighed, took a book from the bookshelf, and flipped through it casually. Ning Shu suddenly thought of something. She wondered how Wen Xing was doing now. Had he managed to get a plane? She didn't know how her brain was doing. It seemed like the intelligent life form had already awakened. He wondered if Wen Xing could control it. She didn't want to lose her AI life. Ning Shu closed the book, opened the chat system, and clicked on Wen Xing's avatar. Ning Shu, sweetheart, where's your mission enforcer? Little lowly system, dear, who are you? Ning Shu was speechless. Are you kidding me? Who else could it be? Ning Shu, I'm the person who lent you the mission enforcer's brain. Little lowly system, oh, it's you. I know it's you. I'm joking with you. Ning Shu, how's your mission enforcer now? Little lowly system, not very good. The plane situation has been stagnant. I can only control it from worsening. He can't go up or down now. Ning Shu, I see. I'm just asking. I wish him good luck. Little lowly system was a bit speechless. It asked, dear, what's the matter? Are you here to ask for the return of the brain? We might not be able to return it now. Can we rent it? May will give you the rent. Little lowly was a good person. She didn't have to ask for rent, but it sounded nice. Ning Shu, no need. Take it as a good karma between me and Wen Xing. It's also a good thing if he has his own world. Little lowly system, thank you dear. You're a good person. But my mission enforcer's name isn't Wen Xing. Ning Shu was used to calling him Wen Xing. Wen Xing was the name of the mission enforcer when he did missions. Ning Shu, then what's his name? Little lowly system, Wei Shen Ji Fu, Wei Zhou Ji Han, Zhou Han. So his name was Zhou Han. It seemed that it wasn't easy to have one's own world. Zhou Han should also understand that the mission enforcer needed to control the situation in that world. Otherwise, it would be easy to collapse. But in order to have a world, he could only continue like this. Those who stood at the top of the pyramid were in the minority. This was a test of one's will and luck. If one couldn't persevere, they wouldn't be able to reach the top. Mission enforcers were like ordinary people. The strong controlled their own fate. Layer by layer, they became stronger step by step. Ning Shu closed the chat system and put the book on the bookshelf. He looked at the black hole on the wall and sighed silently. He didn't know what this thing wanted to do. Seeing this black hole was really melancholy. Ning Shu was frightened at first, then surprised, then impatient, and now numb. Ning Shu's heart was really numb. He didn't know if he was going to heaven or what. Ning Shu was really too lazy to care about it. He just fused something out and let her see the mission enforcer in advance. Ning Shu finally became a super mission enforcer, but he only saw the mission enforcer a few times in advance. Ning Shu took an old book and threw it at the black hole. The black hole swallowed the old book, and then there was no more. It was really a black hole. It swallowed everything. Even if he used his spiritual power, it would be swallowed. He couldn't see what was going on inside. Ning Shu fell on the sofa. He planned to sleep for a while. When he woke up, he would do the mission. Ning Shu felt that the strength of his soul was increasing very slowly. He felt that it couldn't get stronger. Ning Shu didn't know if it was because he was anxious or if it was just his imagination. He felt that after the mission, there would be 60% of his soul power. But in fact, it didn't feel much. Was it an illusion? Ning Shu rolled his eyes and asked 2333, I always feel that the strengthening of my soul is very slow. What's going on? 2333 just said, it's your illusion. There's only so much soul power. Do you want to become strong in one bite? It's not realistic. It's not that I'm fat in one bite, but it's still so weak. Ning Shu shook his head and said casually, did you steal my soul power? 2333 snorted, you think too highly of me. If only I had the ability. What's yours is yours. I only have 10% of my soul power each time. Oh, Ning Shu replied casually. Was it really her imagination? Ning Shu took a deep breath and thought of the agarwood in the consultation room. He decided to be extravagant and buy some. Chapter 1758. Ning Shu felt that he was a rich pervert now, so he had to improve his standard of living. Every time he went to the consultation room, he couldn't wait to get close to the incense burner and inhale all the incense. Now that he had money, he tried to buy some himself. Ning Shu opened the exchange store, browsed the page, and clicked on the incense. There were many kinds of spices, and Ning Shu even saw aphrodisiac. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu browsed and saw the incense. The product description said that it could calm the mind, reduce the attack of inner demons, and purify the soul. But it was very expensive, 2,000 faith power for 1 gram. Even though Ning Shu was rich now, it still made Ning Shu, who was used to being poor, vomit blood. Ning Shu's fingers trembled, and he finally bought 2 grams. Ning Shu opened the delicate spice jar, and before he lit it, Ning Shu smelled a refreshing smell. Ning Shu exchanged for an exquisite incense burner. He scooped a few spoonfuls of incense, put it in the burner, and lit it. The fragrant smell filled the entire system space. Ning Shu felt that his system space had some style. Ning Shu lay on the sofa, smelling the refreshing smell, and fell asleep peacefully. When he woke up, he felt that his soul was floating, and it was very relaxed and comfortable. Ning Shu stretched and said to 2333, let's do the mission. 2333 asked, dear, do you want to do the mission? Dear my ass, you're not a cute little girl, don't call me dear, it's disgusting. Ning Shu rolled his eyes, no. Ning Shu felt that she had done a lot of system quests. Why did 2333 keep asking her to do the system quests? You haven't done a system mission in a long time since the last one. You're the embodiment of the law, and I'm still a beginner system, I'm embarrassing you. 2333 Ning Shu said. It's okay, I'm not afraid of being embarrassed, no one knows your level anyway. Ning Shu said directly. 2333, what kind of person is this? Merciless, really merciless to me. Can't we help each other and be nice to each other? 2333 said, it takes energy to maintain the entire system space, and you're running around every day, going to Water City, and then to Time City, all these things consume energy, we can't do it. Especially after you became the City Lord of Water City, you go back and forth so many times. 2333 said with grievance. Ever since he became the embodiment of the law and the City Lord of Water City, his mission enforcers had always been in a state of excitement. It was a pity that he had to teleport back and forth every day. How tiring. Ning Shu felt sorry for 2333. So, 2333, so please do some system missions. Ning Shu nodded. Alright, let's do the system quest. Then I'll go, I'll go, I of the system, I of course, I just got a system mission. Ning Shu. What a coincidence. 2333 would only get excited when he was doing a system quest and it was related to his own interests. He would be so enthusiastic as if he was on steroids. Ning Shu clicked on the system exchange store and exchanged for some fasting pills and basic medicine. Better safe than sorry. Ning Shu said to 2333, go do the mission. He wanted to see what the system was this time. The systems he had seen before were the star system, the beloved concubine system. 2333 teleported Ning Shu to another world. Ning Shu didn't know if it was an illusion, but he felt that the teleportation wasn't that uncomfortable. Could it be that 2333 became gentler? Damn, 2333 was usually too rough. His soul was weak, and it was a high-level world, even a super world, it was uncomfortable to teleport. If 2333 was a little more rough, it would be too much. His soul slowly merged into a body. Ning Shu opened his eyes, and what he saw was a ceiling, surrounded by modern-style decorations. It seemed to be a bedroom, it looked good, it was big and wide. Yes, it was a modern world. Ning Shu turned over and felt very tired, as if he had stayed up for a few days and nights. His eyes were sore. Ning Shu closed his eyes and began to use his unique martial arts. Now that there was little spiritual energy in this world, he could only absorb the power of the sun. Ning Shu began to receive the plot. This was the story of the entertainment industry. The client was called Mu Shuyao, a second-tier star. The reason why she was so tired was that she had just finished filming a movie. Mu Shuyao wasn't an ordinary star, the reason was that she had a boyfriend. And this boyfriend was a movie king. Mu Shuyao was the weaker party and was often attacked by the fans of the movie king's boyfriend, saying that she wasn't good enough for him. Mu Shuyao worked hard to make herself outstanding. This story had nothing to do with Mu Shuyao, the only connection was that her movie king boyfriend had been taken by someone else. Xiao Ling was a third-tier actress in her previous life, she got into a car accident and was reborn. Not only was she reborn, but she was also bound to the diva system. This system wanted to cultivate Xiao Ling into a super popular diva. Of course, there were also rewards. Although Xiao Ling's name was very spiritual, her temperament was very gaudy. The system changed Xiao Ling's temperament and the state of her skin. In the entertainment industry, one's looks were the most important. Like other wild systems, it would issue missions for the host to complete. Once completed, there would be rewards. Xiao Ling was reborn to begin with, so she had an advantage. With the help of the system, she would definitely be able to soar. To complete the various requirements of the system, the number of fans she had to reach, the number of dramas and movies she had to film. And the most bizarre thing about this system was that it allowed Xiao Ling to take on the big shots of the entertainment industry. For example, movie kings, singers, genius composers, and top managers. Of course, these people were all very handsome. They were so ugly that they couldn't be accepted. She had to gain the favor of these people and increase their favorability. Most of the people who were able to achieve great things were blessed by luck. The reason why the system gave him a walk through was probably because it wanted to snatch the providence from these men. It was just that she had to conquer many of them. When she encountered a suitable one, the system would issue missions. Of course, the system would also give props, such as a script and lyrics, so that Xiao Ling could sing and dance beautifully. This made it easier to conquer and gain the favor of men. With the advantage of being reborn and the help of the system, Xiao Ling became a winner in life and a super diva. Behind every successful woman, there were many men who silently contributed. Ning Shu was speechless. This was the most immoral system he had ever seen. As long as it was a successful and handsome man, it would conquer all of them. It was not afraid of stepping on too many boats and capsizing. Moreover, after Xiao Ling conquered a man and received help, she met another man and started the game again. Chapter 1759. If a man liked a woman, he had to do something for her. Moreover, under the system's nurturing, Xiao Ling was also a very outstanding person. She could sing and dance, write lyrics, and write songs. Writing scripts was not a problem. Xiao Ling seemed to be at ease. Actually, this was the story of a girl starting a harem. Although many men liked Xiao Ling, she had never expressed her feelings. When she was wooing a man, she would use all kinds of methods. However, when the man was tempted, she would put on an attitude of, "We're friends." This was because the system would keep issuing missions. If she confirmed her relationship with a man, how could she be aloof with other men and gain his favor? Xiao Ling gained both fame and fortune and became the queen of the entertainment industry. She was also a talented woman with countless fans. Whatever he did, he would be the center of attention. He was a true winner in life. A long line of outstanding men behind her looked at her eagerly. Xiao Ling only said, "Friends, we're all friends." The client, on the other hand, was more miserable. Her boyfriend was included in the strategy. The best actor's boyfriend was also retarded. He clearly approached her with a purpose and intention, but in the end, he was wooed. Yu Wenluan gradually became attracted to Xiao Ling as he interacted with her. He felt that Xiao Ling had a good temperament and explosive acting skills. She was a good girl. The closer he got to her, the more he realized that this girl was talented and hardworking. When she faced him, she was neither servile nor overbearing. She was also not overbearing to others. She did not flatter or step on the weak like in the entertainment industry. Facing such a junior, he was still willing to guide her. He lost his heart to Xiao Ling's aloof, ambiguous, and distant tricks. Since there was someone in his heart that he liked and admired, he naturally had to bid farewell to his old friend. Hence, Yu Wenluan unilaterally broke up with her. Moreover, he broke up with her on Weibo, saying that their fate was over and that he wished Mu Shuyao happiness. Mu Shuyao was dumbfounded. Even if he wanted to break up, he should have told her in advance. If he announced the breakup directly, a lot of work couldn't be done. Moreover, it had to be said that sometimes, Mu Shuyao could do anything with the title of Best Actor's girlfriend. However, putting these invisible benefits aside, Mu Shuyao really liked Yu Wenluan. He broke up with her without giving her an explanation. The netizens were elated. They were saying that the Best Actor had finally dumped Mu Shuyao. She finally stopped pestering Best Actor Yu like a dogskin plaster. She had taken a fancy to Best Actor use resources and was trying to climb up the social ladder. In short, everyone kicks a man who is down. Mu Shuyao, who had been ditched by UD, had a bad reputation. It was too much for the eyes to take in. Moreover, they were digging up Mu Shuyao's dark history. She posted photos of Mu Shuyao in the mud and mocked her. Mu Shuyao failed in both her love life and her career. She became a notorious person overnight. Someone must have added fuel to the fire behind the scenes for such a terrifying development. Mu Shuyao went to look for Yu Wenluan and saw Qiao Ling beside him. Mu Shuyao's intuition told her that her boyfriend had broken up with her because of this woman. Moreover, no matter what, Qiao Ling's temperament was pure like an immortal's. She gave off a very good feeling. Her skin was also very good. Her skin was sparkling and translucent. Yu Yan was a little impatient with his ex-girlfriend. He was afraid that Mu Shuyao would pester him and cause Qiao Ling to misunderstand. This wasn't the scariest thing. Mu Shuyao's previous TV dramas and advertisements had all been removed. Even if she could film a TV drama, the roles had been taken away from her. She had changed from the female lead to the female lead. Moreover, it was Qiao Ling who had replaced her role. The two of them competed during filming. Mu Shuyao didn't have a proper background. She entered the entertainment industry because of her good looks and figure. She became a model. Later on, she gradually entered the entertainment industry. Her acting skills weren't good, but with Yu Wenluan, the best actor, teaching her slowly, it wasn't bad. However, when she was acting with Qiao Ling, she was completely crushed. Then, when the TV drama was broadcast, all kinds of anti-fans flooded in. They compared Mu Shuyao and Qiao Ling from their toes to their hair. From their looks to their acting skills, from their previous scandals, all kinds of comparisons were made. Mu Shuyao was completely defamed. There were also photos of her being an escort. As a celebrity, she had no choice but to attend dinner parties for the sake of resources. However, compared to the pure and flawless Qiao Ling, Mu Shuyao was simply a slut who could sleep with anyone. There were even topics on the internet that asked Mu Shuyao to get out of the entertainment industry. Wasn't it surprising? Wasn't it exciting? Such public opinion was definitely manipulated by someone. Mu Shuyao didn't even know who she had offended. It was overwhelming. On the other hand, Qiao Ling became popular because of her temperament and appearance. She also became popular because she snatched Mu Shuyao's role. Mu Shuyao didn't understand how she had offended Qiao Ling. She wanted an explanation from her. However, she didn't expect it to be recorded and edited. It had another effect. When it was posted on the internet, it was simply a storm. Mu Shuyao could be said to be struggling. She couldn't get any jobs. Even if she attended events, people would throw eggs at her. One after another, Mu Shuyao was under a lot of pressure. She didn't dare to go out every day. The company saw that Mu Shuyao was no longer valuable, so they gradually shelved her. Mu Shuyao went to look for Yu Wenluan. She wanted Yu Wenluan to help her on account of their past relationship. This wasn't about quitting the entertainment industry. Mu Shuyao's reputation on the internet couldn't be washed clean. Everyone knew that. She was also affected in real life. When Mu Shuyao found the best actor, she saw that Qiao Ling was surrounded by many men. There was a king, a best actor, a manager, and the CEO of an entertainment company. Qiao Ling stood in the middle like a queen surrounded by dragons and phoenixes. It seemed that they still had feelings for her. No matter how stupid Mu Shuyao was, she knew that her experience had something to do with Qiao Ling. Could it be because of Yu Wenluan? But she wasn't with Yu Wenluan. Was there a need to target her like this? Under all this pressure, Mu Shuyao successfully became depressed. She lost a lot of hair every day and was as skinny as a skeleton. If she wanted to go out, she would be photographed by the reporters and then reported on. They said that it was the former best actor's girlfriend's turn to be like this. Her face was ugly and so on. Ever since the birth of the internet had become a carnival for some people. They were so scared in real life that they vented all their dissatisfaction and negative emotions on the internet. All of them turned into righteous keyboard warriors, supervising the morality of the world. There were also rumors that Mu Shuyao lived in a small room and had sex in order to survive. Chapter 1760. Mu Shuyao wanted to vomit blood when she saw the comments on the internet. As an entertainment celebrity, it was normal for her to be abused. If she wanted to endure the starlight, she had to endure this. This was a circle of fame and fortune. It was impossible to have a private life after taking a lot of money and obtaining fame and fortune. However, the media's abuse of Mu Shuyao was completely fabricated. Mu Shuyao was even more depressed. Depression was a heavy cold in the heart. People with this illness would no longer have the ability to be happy. Then, Mu Shuyao jumped down from the tall building. Mu Shuyao's death was meaningless. The comments on the internet were basically that Mu Shuyao had committed suicide out of shame. They were so happy that it was as if they had punished a bad person. Mu Shuyao's wish was to destroy Xiao Ling, and Yu Wenluan's reputation. Ning Shu opened his eyes and sat up, rubbing his heavy head. The client hated Yu Wenluan. Speaking of which, the client had such an encounter because of Yu Wenluan. Lust blinded one's mind. Ning Shu never knew that love could be obtained like this. Couldn't he tell if the other party loved him or not? Moreover, he had come with such a strong goal to gain favorability, but in the end, he fell in love. Ning Shu was speechless. How did Yu Wenluan feel about Mu Shuyao? He broke up just like that. It was a one-sided breakup. Mu Shuyao was caught off guard. In a place like the entertainment industry, love could be a little utilitarian. From Yu Wenluan's actions, he actually treated Mu Shuyao as a subordinate. He dumped her just like that. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the bed and began to cultivate. No matter what, he had to get his body well first. The work was intense. He had to get his body well. Taking revenge on this adulterous couple was a small matter. He still had to work on his own career. Actually, the winner takes all. Mu Shuyao was simply defeated like a collapsing mountain. She had no way of retaliating at all. In addition, his public relations was not good enough, and the company did not take him seriously. After cultivating for a while, his body already had some fiery yang energy. He felt warm and comfortable. However, the fiery yang energy had some side effects. He couldn't control his temper. Ning Shu got out of bed, took a shower, and looked at his face in the mirror. The client was quite good-looking. Her face shape was typical of Eastern Americans. She had an oval face, cherry lips, a small nose, a small frame, and a good body proportion. Ning Shu patted his face. He was quite good-looking. Being good-looking was an advantage. However, whether he lived well or not depended on his ability. The person who commissioned him was someone who didn't have any ability. Ning Shu changed his clothes, put on a hat and sunglasses, and prepared to go out. Ning Shu, Mantis Shrimp, let's go find our boyfriend. Ning Shu walked out of the apartment. This apartment was where the artists under the company stayed. A B-list celebrity like Mu Shuyao could afford a house, but the client was reluctant to do so. The company would take a large portion of the money earned from the advertisements. In fact, the client did not have much money. Yu Wenluan already had his own studio. Ning Shu always felt that Yu Wenluan didn't really like the client. Why did they become boyfriend and girlfriend? She didn't know why. Ning Shu didn't have a good impression of the best actor Yu Wenluan. He couldn't even tell if it was love or not. He was easily won over by someone and then immediately got rid of the client. He was really afraid that the client would pester him. Ning Shu arrived at the set. Yuan Luan was shooting a movie that his studio had invested in. Yuan Luan was the best actor and guaranteed the box office. Ning Shu got out of the car and went to the set. Ning Shu saw Yuan Luan talking to a woman from afar. This woman was wearing a costume. It was an ancient costume. Yuan Luan was also wearing a deep robe with wide sleeves. The two of them stood together like an immortal couple. Yuan Luan held the script in his hand and was explaining it to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling looked at Yuan Luan with her crystal eyes. Xiao Ling had a pure temperament and her skin was delicate. She was a complete beauty. Men all had vanity and a desire to conquer. Being looked at by a woman with admiration would definitely make one feel good. Yuan Luan lowered his head and met Xiao Ling's wet eyes. Then, when Xiao Ling met Yuan Luan's gaze, she nervously and shyly avoided it. She looked really cute. Actually, Xiao Ling was here to be an extra. At this time, Xiao Ling had just been reborn. The mission issued by the system was to woo the best actor Yuan Luan. In her previous life, Xiao Ling had been wandering around the 18th line. Because she didn't have any resources, she was always bullied and taken advantage of by directors and producers. She had been acting as a servant girl who didn't have much of a presence, a brothel prostitute, etc. In this life, she first came to be an extra in a movie that Yuan Luan invested in. With Xiao Ling's appearance and temperament, she was more eye-catching than the main character. Soon, Xiao Ling attracted the attention of the best actor Yuan Luan. Wow, this girl is good. She's an extra, but her acting skills are good. It's a waste to be an extra. Thus, he arranged the role of the fifth female lead for Xiao Ling. It was a world of difference from the previous extra who cost dozens of yuan for 3 boxed meals a day. Moreover, she could have a scene with Yuan Luan. It was simply too awesome. During the intermission, Xiao Ling would take the script and sincerely consult Yuan Luan. At the same time, she wanted to make a good impression. Ning Shu stood at the side and silently watched the two of them talk about the script. Just looking at Xiao Ling from afar, she was stunning. Her figure was graceful and flawless. The system wanted to make Xiao Ling a heartthrob, loved by everyone, and bloomed flowers. The two of them held the script and talked for a long time. They talked happily. Xiao Ling smiled until her eyes curved, making people feel very comfortable. Under the system's creation, Xiao Ling's temperament was no longer gaudy. Instead, it was ethereal and pure. It was hard to forget. Yuan Luan looked at Xiao Ling with amazement and admiration. Not to mention how good Xiao Ling's acting skills were, just her appearance alone was enough to make a living in the entertainment industry. Someone still went to tell Yuan Luan that Ning Shu was here. Yuan Luan turned his head and saw Ning Shu standing there. He frowned. Ning Shu waved his hand. Ning Shu walked over. Yuan Luan was wearing a deep robe with wide sleeves, a belt around his waist, a jade crown on his head, and a wig. He was a living example of an ancient emperor, handsome and dignified. Yuan Luan was like whatever he acted in. He became a movie king at such a young age. Yuan Luan's appearance was not that of a pretty boy. His temperament was very calm. He was not a little fresh meat, but he was more popular than a little fresh meat. Why are you here? Yuan Luan asked Ning Shu. Ning Shu smiled and said, I have a Xianxia TV series about to start filming. I won't be able to see you for a while, so I came to say hello. Yuan Luan nodded. Work hard. If nothing unexpected happens, this TV series will bring you to the next level. Chapter 1761. This Xianxia drama made a big turn in Mu Shuyao's acting career. However, that was in her previous life. In this life, Xiao Ling had snatched the role. Xiao Ling's temperament was very suitable for this role, and she became famous overnight. Mu Shuyao was forced to be the second female lead. Mu Shuyao was angry and argued with the director. The director's attitude was very clear. She didn't care if she acted or not. Acting as a bad person would usually implicate the actor and be scolded, especially since the character was quite annoying. It was a femme fatale. For the sake of love. Mu Shuyao was indignant at that time. She couldn't let it go just like that. Even if she was the second female lead, she could still turn the tables. His role had been stolen by someone who came out of nowhere. He couldn't just let it go. In the end, reality was cruel. The annoying character, coupled with the fact that the opponent was someone who had lived for 2 lifetimes and the system's bonus, was simply torturous. She was scolded like a dog and then dumped by her boyfriend. It was simply difficult for her to move forward. Because she was criticized on the internet for her acting skills, Mu Shuyao was in a difficult situation. Her acting career could be interrupted at any time. However, things happened too quickly. Mu Shuyao didn't even have a chance to turn the tables. This was a cruel industry. It was fine even if she was plotted against. After all, people stepped on each other's shoulders to climb up. However, Mu Shuyao didn't think that she had offended Xiao Ling. Why did Xiao Ling treat her like this? She snatched her boyfriend and was even forcing her step by step. Yu Wenluan's attitude towards Ning Shu couldn't be said to be much like or love. However, being able to be boyfriend and girlfriend meant that they had some feelings. Otherwise, Yu Wenluan wouldn't have announced that Mu Shuyao was his girlfriend. One had to know that if a male celebrity was no longer single, it was very likely that he would lose some fans. Most of the fans in the entertainment industry were female fans. He didn't love her much, but he liked her a little. To Yu Wenluan, Mu Shuyao was useless. She had to establish a loyal and affectionate persona and wouldn't break up easily. However, once there was a suitable person, he wouldn't hesitate to break up with Mu Shuyao. People in the entertainment industry would set up a persona for themselves. For example, a good wife and mother, a fairy, or a pure and straightforward person. In short, a likable persona would make fans like them more. As long as they maintained this persona on screen, it would be fine. Mu Shuyao was a classic beauty, and her looks were more classic. This time, the Xianxia TV series had made Mu Shuyao a great success. But that role was snatched away by Xiao Ling. Ning Shu glanced at Xiao Ling, standing beside Yu Wenluan and asked, "Who is this?" "Oh, the actors of this movie are asking me about something they don't understand," Yu Wenluan said. "Hello, Miss Mu. I'm Xiao Ling." Xiao Ling was very respectful to Ning Shu. Ning Shu nodded and said to Yu Wenluan, "Is she the female lead?" "She's pretty." Ning Shu knew that Xiao Ling wasn't the female lead in this drama. She had said that on purpose. It could be said that Xiao Ling's brilliance overshadowed the real female lead. Ning Shu glanced at the female lead who was touching up her makeup. She was an A-list celebrity, but she didn't look too good. "It's not the female lead. It's the 5th female lead." Xiao Ling immediately said, "The female lead is Sister Zhang." Ning Shu put down a bag of fruit. "I brought some fruit for you. You film every day. Eat more fruit to cool down." There was a lot of fruit in this bag. It was enough for Yu Wenluan to eat for a while, and he could also share it with others. Even if he wanted to deal with him, Ning Shu wouldn't fall out with him directly. That would be giving the other party something to use against him. Yu Wenluan's expression changed. "Thank you." Ning Shu just smiled. Xiao Ling said with a smile, "Senior Yu and Miss Mu are really in love." Although Xiao Ling was smiling, her heart was hazy. In her previous life, she was a third-rate artist who struggled. She wasn't even a star. Mu Shuyao, on the other hand, had become popular because of a Xianxia drama. In the end, she even married the best actor and her life went smoothly. It seemed that she and Yu Wenlun were lucky, but she didn't have a backer or a chance to act. She couldn't become popular. In her previous life, Xiao Ling was very jealous of Mu Shuyao. In this life, she wanted to take everything from Mu Shuyao, her opportunity, and her man. Sometimes, jealousy was so gratuitous. She couldn't get what she wanted even if she tried her best, but Mu Shuyao easily got what she wanted. It made people very jealous. Task issued: obtain the female lead role of a Xianxia drama. The system's voice sounded in Xiao Ling's mind. Xiao Ling's heart skipped a beat. Since the system issued a task, she had to take the role of Mu Shuyao. And this role would make the actor popular. Although Mu Shuyao was a classic beauty, she wasn't bad either. Moreover, her temperament had changed drastically. Maybe it could make her popular. Moreover, Xiao Ling didn't like Mu Shuyao in her heart. They would definitely meet. She wanted to make a good impression on Yu Wenlun, which was to steal Mu Shuyao's man. Their positions were on opposite sides. Go back and prepare well. Perform well. I'm going to start work. Yu Wenlun chased Ning Shu away. Ning Shu smiled and said, "It's okay. I happen to be free today. I want to stay here and watch you film. You won't chase me away, right? I want to watch your acting. It's my first time being the lead. I feel a little guilty." Ning Shu ignored Xiao Ling and said to Yu Wenlun. Yu Wenlun frowned. "Up to you. Just watch." Ning Shu smiled, his whole face shining brightly. "Thank you." With Ning Shu here, Yu Wenlun couldn't talk to Xiao Ling about the script. Xiao Ling felt uncomfortable. How could she make a good impression with Mu Shuyao here? Yu Wenlun was Mu Shuyao's boyfriend now. She didn't want to be involved in a scandal of stealing someone else's boyfriend. She couldn't be a mistress. She wanted Yu Wenlun to have a good impression of her without causing any scandals. She wanted Yu Wenlun to admire her and like her. Actually, she was just a prostitute. Now, Yu Wenlun had a good impression of her. Ning Shu sat on a chair and watched Xiao Ling and Yu Wenlun work. Ning Shu took out his phone and took a photo from time to time. Especially when Xiao Ling and Yu Wenlun were in the same frame. Although they were filming, he still felt an inexplicable ambiguous feeling between Xiao Ling and Yu Wenlun. Her beautiful appearance was like a fragrant flower, attracting bees. If Xiao Ling wasn't outstanding, Yu Wenlun would have noticed her. If she wasn't outstanding, how could she make a good impression? This kind of system that chose a female host made the host a peerless beauty in the world. Chapter 1762. Since ancient times, heroes had a weakness for beauties. In essence, Ning Shu felt that men couldn't control their reproductive instincts. If a woman had a good appearance, her genes wouldn't be bad. The children she gave birth to might combine the advantages of both sides. Just like how a female animal had a strong body and a strong male animal. Sigh, this world looked at faces in despair. Ning Shu sat on the chair and carefully watched Yu Wenlun act. When he had scenes with Xiao Ling's eyes were filled with affection. As a concubine in the harem, it was normal for her to like the emperor. During filming, Xiao Ling seemed to want to pass on all her admiration to Yu Wenlun. If one didn't know, they would just think that Xiao Ling's acting skills were amazing. Ning Shu took out his phone and found a subtle angle to secretly take a picture. Yu Wenlun's heart started to beat wildly when he was looked at by a woman who seemed to be very sincere. Especially when this woman was very beautiful and affectionate. Any man might not be able to stand it. Xiao Ling's heart was blooming with joy. She heard the system tell her that Yu Wenlun's affection for her was now 40 and would reach 50 soon. She already had a good impression of him. At the same time, the system issued another mission. Expose the real identity of the movie king's girlfriend and let him help you get a role. It meant to embarrass the movie king's girlfriend. Xiao Ling's next mission was to embarrass Mu Shuyao and ruin her image in the movie king's heart. With a comparison, Yu Wenluan's heart naturally favored her. Although Yu Wenluan didn't say that he liked her, the affection wasn't fake. Moreover, Mu Shuyao was a hypocritical person. She usually pretended to be like a lady from an ancient family. She was also a vengeful and arrogant person. She was afraid that her man would run away, so she immediately came to visit. She said that she was visiting, but she was actually monitoring. Mu Shuyao's achievements today and her ability to become the female lead of a TV series were all because of the resources provided by Yu Wenluan. Xiao Ling relied on her acting skills from her previous life and her ethereal temperament to give people the feeling that her acting skills were natural. She was born to act and passed the first scene. Yu Wenluan couldn't help but praise her. "You're really not bad." Xiao Ling immediately smiled. "Thank you, I will continue to work hard. But I'm still not as good as Miss Mu. She's the female lead now, and I'm just an extra." Xiao Ling said with some disappointment. Then, she became excited. "But I will work hard. My goal is to become a movie queen. I will act in many movies and create many characters." Xiao Ling was brimming with vitality. Because she was young, her face was full of collagen and had a pearl-like luster, causing people to be dazzled. Beautiful, beautiful, and pure. Yu Wenluan's gaze on Xiao Ling grew softer and softer. Xiao Ling had just entered the entertainment industry, so she didn't have the impetuosity and materialism of the entertainment industry. During the filming period, the more Wenluan admired Xiao Ling the more he admired her. "As long as you don't distract yourself, you will definitely become the best actress. You are an acting genius, you have the talent, you will definitely succeed," Yu Wenluan said gently. In fact, Xiao Ling's talent was honed in her previous life. In addition, with the help of the system, the outside world said that Xiao Ling was born for acting. Xiao Ling smiled like a flower. She seemed to be bursting with joy because of Yu Wenluan's praise. Yu Wenluan looked at Xiao Ling with a hint of affection in his eyes. Xiao Ling looked at Ning Shu and walked over. She asked in a low voice, "Miss Mu, can I have some of your water?" Ning Shu was looking down at his phone. He looked up at Xiao Ling and said casually, "There is water in the bag over there. Take it yourself." Xiao Ling immediately said, "Thank you, Miss Mu. You are so nice." Yu Wenluan walked over and Xiao Ling handed him a bottle of water. "Master, please have some water," Xiao Ling said mischievously. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows and looked at Xiao Ling Xiao Ling immediately waved her hand, as if she was afraid that Ning Shu would misunderstand. "Don't misunderstand. The movie king guided me in acting and called me master because he wanted to thank me." When Xiao Ling waved her hand, the water in the bottle splashed out and was about to splash Ning Shu. Ning Shu turned around and moved his fingers slightly. The water splashed on the ground and some splashed directly on Xiao Ling Although the restrictions of the plane were great, she was still the embodiment of the law of water. What was he thinking by splashing water on her? "Are you okay?" Ning Shu asked Xiao Ling Life was like a show. It all depended on acting skills. If you want to pretend to be friendly and innocent, I can also pretend to be magnanimous and friendly. Xiao Ling's hands were full of water and her costume was wet. "Are you okay?" Yu Wenluan hurriedly asked Xiao Ling "Do you want hot water? Otherwise, it will be hot. Don't worry. Shu Yao is not such a stingy person. She won't misunderstand." Yu Wenluan looked at Xiao Ling Ning Shu was speechless. I am a stingy person. I don't need you to flatter me. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be able to say anything. Get angry. You are stingy. Now, Yuan Luan was biased towards Xiao Ling. Ning Shu took out a piece of paper from her bag and handed it to Xiao Ling. I didn't misunderstand. Wen Luan can give you pointers on water. Xiao Ling's face was a bit ugly. She said reluctantly, "Thank you, Miss Mu. You are really a magnanimous person." It's not that I'm magnanimous, but I have confidence in Wen Luan. He is the kind of person who is dedicated and responsible. If he says that he will guide you, then he will. I am a die-hard fan of Best Actor Yu. Ning Shu smiled and said disgusting words. However, it did make Yuan Luan feel uncomfortable and guilty. He had a good impression of Xiao Ling in his heart. Your film is about to start. Go back and prepare. Yuan Luan asked Ning Shu to go back. Ning Shu nodded and said with a smile, "Then I'll go back. Remember to eat the food I brought. You don't look too good. Remember to eat more fruit." Then, Yuan Luan's expression turned even uglier. Ning Shu carried her bag and left. She turned around and saw Yuan Luan wiping the water off Xiao Ling's hands with a tissue. Ning Shu used her bag to block her phone and took a picture. Then, she drove home slowly. Ning Shu returned to the apartment and turned on the computer. She thought about the script that the Heavenly Queen system had given Xiao Ling. This script was a popular one in other worlds. Ning Shu didn't plan to write it. Instead, she made an outline of the script, created a side account, and sent it to the email of a famous screenwriter. This kind of thing needed to be written by a professional. When the time came, a professional would be better than someone like Xiao Ling, who had done a job and then written the lyrics. Chapter 1763. When the time came, the plagiarism incident would be enough to ruin Xiao Ling's reputation. Xiao Ling's script was given directly by the system, and Xiao Ling didn't know how to write a script. But what was puzzling was that no one doubted that Xiao Ling could write a script. Writing a script wasn't an easy job. He seriously suspected that the system had the ability to lower IQ. Otherwise, he wouldn't have trusted Xiao Ling so unconditionally. The email showed that it had been sent. Ning Shu stretched. Then, he wrote some lyrics. These songs were very popular in other worlds, and they were very popular. They were all used by Xiao Ling to flirt with men. The king of singers was a handsome music addict. Xiao Ling used these legendary songs to successfully close the gap between her and the superstars and successfully won over some people. Take note, some people. Ning Shu knocked his head and tried to recall the songs. Then he slowly tapped on the keyboard. Ding dong. She received an email. The famous scriptwriter had replied and asked Ning Shu what she meant by sending him the outline. Ning Shu only said that he was selling the outline and creativity. The screenwriter directly said to Ning Shu that if he wanted to sell it, he would settle it all at once. In the future, the script would have nothing to do with Ning Shu, and he couldn't mention the script. Ning Shu nodded in agreement. They reached an agreement. Ning Shu gave the screenwriter a Red Cross bank account number and asked him to transfer the money directly to the charity. Ning Shu said repeatedly, hoping that the screenwriter could write it and put it on the screen. After talking to the scriptwriter, Ning Shu sent the song to the manager of the adorable Heavenly King. This king was a music addict and didn't care much about relationships. He only cared about music in his life. Xiao Ling relied on music to win over the king. Not only was there a king of singers, but there were also composers and lyricists. These songs were all songs from other worlds that had been polished by time. They were classic songs. Ning Shu rubbed his neck, stood up, poured a glass of water, and drank slowly. After drinking a mouthful of water, Ning Shu took out a yoga mat and began to exercise his body. This mission was difficult and easy at the same time. Apart from her rebirth and the system, Xiao Ling was still a third-rate celebrity. Therefore, he wanted to take away Xiao Ling's halo and destroy her advantage. Then, the system would see that Xiao Ling was no longer worth nurturing and would naturally leave Xiao Ling. When that happens, 2333 will devour this wild system. Ning Shu twisted his body and grunted. The laptop on the coffee table made a ding-dong sound. An email had arrived. Ning Shu struggled to open his legs and took a look at the computer. It was a message from the manager of the adorable Masked King. His tone was rather arrogant. He directly asked how much the lyrics cost and how much it was. She was indeed the Heavenly King's manager, so domineering. Ning Shu replied, "Yes, I can sell these songs." However, Ning Shu did not have any objections to the other party buying out all the rights to his signature. He directly said that it would be fine as long as he paid for it. The manager was very generous and gave him more than 100,000 yuan. Ning Shu did not have any objections. He gave him an account number of Hope Primary School and asked him to send the money over. Ning Shu did not want to take the money. If he took it, there would be traces. Ning Shu did not want to get into any trouble. The other party agreed and even said that if he had any lyrics that he wanted to sell, he could come to them. Ning Shu nodded. The other party was a swift and decisive person. He directly transferred the money and even took a screenshot of it for Ning Shu to see. He transferred 200,000 yuan and sent it under the Masked King's name. After all, doing charity was a good thing. Ning Shu replied with a message saying that he saw it. Well, it blocked Xiao Ling's path. Ning Shu took out his phone and opened the photos he took earlier. He opened the photo of Yu Wenluan holding Xiao Ling's hand and wiping the water for her. Ning Shu thought about it and decided to post a post. The title was #shocking. The movie king is behaving ambiguously with an unknown actress on the set. Who is this woman? Ning Shu pasted the photo on the wall. Because of the angle, the photo looked really ambiguous. Xiao Ling raised her head and looked at Yu Wenluan affectionately. Yu Wenluan held Xiao Ling's hand. Why does it look like there's something going on? Moreover, there were staff members walking by. It was obvious that they were not filming. Yu Wenluan's popularity was very high. This post was quickly noticed by people and created a huge number of comments. Most of them were Yu Wenluan's female fans. They were all trying to find out who this woman was. At this time, Xiao Ling had just entered the entertainment industry. She was still a rookie. Everyone tried to find out who she was, but they could not find anything. Ning Shu changed his IP and account number. Then, he posted another post. He said that the previous post was just a publicity stunt. If he wanted people to pay attention, he had to create some hype. When it came to ripping, there had to be different voices. Yu Wenluan should thank her. After all, she had increased the attention and popularity of his movie. Every time a TV drama or movie wanted to attract people's attention, there would be some scandals about the actors. Anyway, it was exposed in advance. If Xiao Ling and Yu Wenluan really did anything ambiguous, Yu Wenluan would only protect Xiao Ling when he had a girlfriend. Yu Wenluan's steady and responsible image might collapse. No matter how many people did not like Mu Shuyao, the real girlfriend of Yu Wenluan, she was still Yu Wenluan's girlfriend. Now that he was flirting with another woman, no matter what the rumors were, Mu Shuyao was the victim. Yu Wenluan's studio replied quickly. They were very good at public relations. Soon, they explained the photo on Weibo. They explained that Yu Wenluan's actions were only because the other party had splashed water on her hand and he helped wipe it. Moreover, they had to severely punish those who slandered him. In an instant, Yu Wenluan's fans comforted him and praised Yu Wenluan for being a warm man. However, there were also different voices because his actions were too ambiguous. Then, some people gloated and ran to Ning Shu's Weibo, saying that Ning Shu had been dumped. Ning Shu was speechless. Ning Shu browsed through his Weibo page and saw all kinds of comments. It had nothing to do with her. Ning Shu did not respond. Ning Shu put down his computer and twisted his body to train his flexibility. After sweating all over, Ning Shu took a shower and started to cultivate. If he had some strength, he could dodge eggs quickly. The entertainment industry was about fame and power. It was also a circle of right and wrong. It was an ecological chain. Celebrities were naturally high and mighty. However, some paparazzi magazines relied on digging up scandals to satisfy the public's gossip about celebrities. In short, the media and celebrities were inseparable. The internal strife was definitely much harsher than in other circles. They had to endure both fame and benefits. Chapter 1764. It was just mutual deception. The winner was king and the loser was in the wrong. Originally, it was a big dye vat. No one could walk out of the mud without being stained. Walking on the beach without getting their shoes wet. Everyone stepped on each other and faced a lot of temptations. It was just a matter of whether they could control themselves. Actually, Ning Shu didn't like to do tasks in the entertainment industry. Since he enjoyed fame and fortune, he had to bear the pain of fame and fortune. Everything in the world was fair. Holding a lot of money, saying how hard it was. Staying up late, how hard it was. She was hospitalized today, blah, blah. All living things were suffering. Shouldn't they pay the price? The client's injustice was that she didn't have a direct conflict with Xiao Ling, but Xiao Ling, stepped on her and kept slandering her. The client was frozen. She was photographed leaving the house and was compared to the popular Xiao Ling, The terrifying public opinion made Mu Shuyao commit suicide. She died before she even lived half of her life. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the carpet and looked at the computer. Actually, he was quite puzzled as to why Xiao Ling, was so relentless against the client. It was fine if she had taken over the client's boyfriend, but why was she so cruel to the client? She was simply courting death. Ning Shu was browsing Weibo when his phone rang. It was Yuanluan. Ning Shu picked up the phone and said, "Hello. Why are you free to call me? Aren't you busy? You saw the news online, right?" Yuanluan's voice was low, obviously unhappy. "Oh, you mean that picture? I don't care about it at all. Besides, I was there at the time and knew what happened. I don't care about it at all. You don't have to care about it either. Focus on filming. Don't let these gossips and out-of-context things affect your mood." Ning Shu's tone was light and very considerate. "I'm also an actress, okay? I've been to many different worlds. Everyone acted together. It was just a matter of who acted more sincerely." Ning Shu said a bunch of considerate and forbearing words. Yuanluan was silent for a while on the other end of the phone. In the end, he said, "I got it," and hung up. Ning Shu looked at his phone. Mu Shuyao was the weaker party in this relationship. Yuanluan's fans always felt that Mu Shuyao, who was just a pretty face, wasn't worthy of Yuanluan. Even Mu Shuyao herself had a weak mentality and always subconsciously tried to please Yuanluan. The more he fawned, the more humble he was. The more humble he was, the less the other party cared about him. It wasn't until Mu Shuyao gradually became popular that the situation slowly changed. Therefore, the best relationship was to be evenly matched. Anyway, Ning Shu wouldn't break up with Yuanluan. No matter what, he had to destroy Yuanluan's image. No matter what, he had to stand on the side of reason. After finishing his work, Ning Shu began to pack his luggage, preparing to go to the filming site. Speaking of which, this was her first time acting, so it shouldn't be a problem. Ning Shu decided to find the client's book. These books were all about the basics of acting. Mu Shuyao wasn't from a proper class, so she hadn't received any systematic acting training. Although he had Yu Wenluan's guidance, he was still not very powerful. Ning Shu flipped through the book, reading page by page. In the evening, his manager, Sister Zhao, came over and asked, "Have you packed your things? You have to go early for the opening ceremony." "It's never wrong to go early." Ning Shu nodded. "Got it. I'll leave early tomorrow morning." She didn't have the right to act like a big shot. Mu Shuyao was afraid that her actions would cause Yu Wenluan to break up with her. Yu Wenluan was the kind of person who did things in a down-to-earth manner and didn't cause any scandals. He gave the fans the impression that he was down-to-earth and reliable. In 2 words, he had a reliable character. Mu Shuyao got closer to Yu Wenluan. However, even so, Mu Shuyao was still a pretty face among Yu Wenluan's fans. Sister Zhao reminded Ning Shu, it wasn't easy to get the role this time. "Don't mess it up. I'll go with you early tomorrow morning." Ning Shu replied, "I got it. Sister Zhao, you can go ahead." No matter what, the manager also hoped that the celebrities under her would become popular. Sister Zhao had other artistes under her, and they were so busy every day that they left after half an hour. Ning Shu sent Sister Zhao to the door. Sister Zhao thought for a moment and said to Ning Shu, "Your boyfriend is Yu Wenluan. If you can ask him for a role, do it. Don't end up with nothing." She was just that realistic. Ning Shu nodded. "Sister Zhao, I know what to do." After Sister Zhao left, Ning Shu closed the door and went back to reading. When he had nothing to do, he would scroll through Weibo. This was where all kinds of gossip gathered. If there was any news, he would be the first to know. Ning Shu wanted to see if Xiao Ling would appear on the internet and take the opportunity to make her presence known. If she really did, it would basically prove that she had relied on Yu Wenluan to get to the top. If Xiao Ling had any brains, she wouldn't be jumping up and down at this time. Xiao Ling still wanted to woo other men. If her reputation was ruined, how could she woo him? Men didn't like women who were full of schemes. They liked women who were pure and flawless. What a beautiful white lotus. Xiao Ling wanted to make a scene and explain the cause and effect on the internet, but she was stopped by the system. The system gave Xiao Ling the title of a talented woman. She relied on her ability to attract many suitors and let men admire and love her. Now that she had no achievements and was jumping around, it was suspicious. Xiao Ling endured it with great difficulty. In fact, Xiao Ling's heart was still very restless. In her previous life, she was an artist who didn't have much fame until her death. This time, because of Yu Wenluan, many people were paying attention to her. Xiao Ling couldn't control herself. But the system said no, so Xiao Ling could only endure and give up the opportunity to show her face. She was going to become a super queen with tens of millions of fans. She couldn't lose the big picture for small things. Xiao Ling apologized to Yu Wenluan guiltily. "It's all because of me that you got involved in such a scandal." Xiao Ling looked uneasy. Her beautiful little face was full of hesitation and fear. It was as if she was afraid of bringing trouble to Yu Wenluan. Her helpless and pitiful look made Yu Wenluan's heart soften. "It's okay. In this circle, who hasn't been used before? There are all kinds of scandals. Thanks to you, our movie has attracted another wave of attention. There are 2 sides to everything. Don't feel too guilty," Yu Wenluan said indifferently. "Really?" Xiao Ling looked at Yu Wenluan and patted her chest playfully. "You really scared me to death. If I brought trouble to you because of me, I would feel guilty. You still have one more scene to finish, right? Have you thought about where to go next?" Yu Wenlun changed the topic. Xiao Ling was a little confused. I don't know. Your image is very suitable for Shuyao's fantasy drama. You can try it. Yu Wenlun felt that this girl was talented and should be promoted. Chapter 1765. When Yu Wenlun offered to help Xiao Ling get a role, Xiao Ling immediately agreed. Xiao Ling wanted to steal a role from Mu Shuyao, but it would be better if Yu Wenlun recommended her. Xiao Ling blinked her bright eyes and asked in confusion, "What role should I get?" "Just go. A TV series needs a lot of actors. Go find the director." Yu Wenlun wasn't angry when he saw Xiao Ling's confused look. Xiao Ling made an "oh" sound. Although her mouth said that she understood, her face was still confused. Yu Wenlun thought about it. "How about this? I'll call the director. You go and audition. If there's a suitable role, you can play it." Xiao Ling was overjoyed. At least Yu Wenlun had called the director. No matter what, the director would take his word seriously. With this relationship, she could definitely change the director's mind during the audition. With her acting skills and temperament, she would be more suitable for the female lead. If there was a chance, she would do it, especially if someone created it for her. Xiao Ling hesitated again and asked, "Won't this be too troublesome?" "Forget it. Don't call. Miss Mu is also on the set. It won't be good if there's a misunderstanding." Yu Wenlun took out his phone and made a call. "It's just a call. If you don't succeed in the audition, it's up to you." Xiao Ling nodded heavily and smiled brightly as she watched Yu Wenlun make the call. "When we're done here, you can go over," Yu Wenlun said to Xiao Ling after hanging up. Xiao Ling immediately said, "You've helped me so much. I don't know how to thank you. You're an acting genius. Don't think too much. Focus on acting," Yu Wenlun said gently to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling nodded heavily. "I won't let you down." Xiao Ling was very emotional. Her small face was red as she unconsciously grabbed Yu Wenlun's hand. "Thank you. I must become the best actress." Yu Wenlun's heart skipped a beat when Xiao Ling grabbed his hand. Her hand was warm and soft, and her skin was smooth. Yu Wenlun didn't know whether it was static electricity or something, but he felt his hand go numb. Xiao Ling realized that she had grabbed Yu Wenlun's hand and quickly let go. "Sorry, I was too excited." "Thank you." Yu Wenlun rubbed his fingers together. He was a little nostalgic for the soft touch and warmth. Xiao Ling's heart was blooming with joy. Although she didn't embarrass Mu Shuyao, the role was already a done deal. Moreover, the system had notified her that Yu Wenlun's favorability towards her had increased again. It was simply awesome. Yu Wenlun probably liked her now. Xiao Ling said, "Senior, I'd like to treat you to a meal when I'm done shooting. Thank you for taking care of me." Yu Wenlun had a good impression of Xiao Ling. Naturally, he wouldn't refuse such an invitation. In fact, he was looking forward to it. Yu Wenlun even felt that he might have found his true love. As for Mu Shuyao, Yu Wenlun could only say that he liked her a little. Mu Shuyao was Yu Wenlun's type. But now, there was a girl who had surpassed the master. Yu Wenlun felt that the current one was even better. The original one could be thrown away and replaced. "Okay, when you're done shooting, you can treat me to a meal." "Forget it, I'll treat you. You just entered the entertainment industry and don't have much money," Yu Wenlun said considerately. Xiao Ling nodded obediently. "Okay, when I earn enough money, I'll definitely treat you to a big meal." Xiao Ling was very happy. In her previous life, he was Mu Shuyao's man. Now, he had a good impression of her. When this strategy was successful, she would gain a foothold in the entertainment industry step by step. Then, she would consider other things. She would definitely become a super diva. Ning Shu didn't know that the two of them were progressing so quickly. He boarded the plane to the filming location. Because it was a xianxia drama, the filming location was a 5A scenic spot. Ning Shu arrived at the hotel booked by the crew. Sister Zhao instructed Ning Shu and hurried back. Ning Shu took out the script and practiced yoga while memorizing the script. While memorizing, he also took out a pen to write. Being an actor was a job. At the very least, he couldn't cause trouble for the client. In order to prevent any accidents, Ning Shu even memorized the second female lead's lines. She might become the second female lead like in the plot. Besides studying the character of the female lead, Ning Shu was also studying the character of the second female lead. Other than being a vicious and merciless beauty, he had to find something deeper. Besides memorizing the lines, Ning Shu also browsed the gossip on the internet. After staying in the hotel for a few days, Ning Shu received a call from Sister Zhao. Sister Zhao sounded very angry. "Shu Yao, your role has been replaced. I talked to the director and said that the second female lead role will be given to you." Ning Shu calmly flipped through the script. "I see. This is too much. Let's not act," Sister Zhao said angrily. "I'm coming over now. I'll accompany you to talk to the director." Ning Shu nodded. "Sister Zhao, you don't have to go back and forth. We'll act." Changing from the first female lead to the second female lead isn't just a matter of salary. It's also a matter of exposure. This is your first time as the first female lead and it was taken away just like that. Good things are really hard to come by. Sister Zhao sounded exhausted. "Do you want to give Yu Wenlun a call? No matter what, you have to tell him about this." Ning Shu only said, "Sister Zhao, don't worry. It's fine. You can act as the first female lead or the second female lead." "Why not? I'm so angry. I heard that this person who replaced you came from some corner. I've never heard of her before." Sister Zhao still wanted Ning Shu to inform Yu Wenlun. She hoped to use Yu Wenlun's power to put pressure on the production crew. Fortune and misfortune can be together. The second female lead can also become popular. Let's wait and see. As for this person who replaced me, maybe she has some background, Ning Shu said vaguely. I'm going to find out what kind of background she has. If you really want to act, then act. Sister Zhao hung up the phone. Ning Shu propped up her chin and tapped her fingers on the table, making tapping sounds. The role that was already in his hands was snatched away. How frustrating. Changing orders from day to night really made people feel uncomfortable. So be it. In the plot, Mu Shuyao was well known because of this role, even though it was a bad one. Ning Shu's lips twitched. Yu Wenlun must have pulled strings for Qiao Ling, to become the first female lead. Yu Wenlun really knew how to be a person. They hadn't even broken up yet, but he couldn't wait to dig a hole for his girlfriend. He was drunk. Yu Wenlun had a good impression of Qiao Ling, but he didn't like his girlfriend. In order to get Qiao Ling's favor, he didn't want to humiliate his girlfriend. Chapter 1766. People like Yu Wenlun were ruthless. Ning Shu smiled and started to memorize the script. He was memorizing the second female lead's lines. It was better to be prepared in advance than to memorize it on set. He had to be prepared. Ning Shu didn't call Yu Wenlun. So what if he called him? It wouldn't change the outcome at all. Besides, Yu Wenlun's heart was already biased. It was useless to say more. Qiao Ling, on the other hand, was so excited that she called Yu Wenlun and told him that she had actually become the female lead. This would make Miss Mu unhappy. Yu Wenlun was also a little surprised, but he still persuaded her, the role was decided by the director. It has nothing to do with you. Don't feel burdened. Just act well. Hearing you say that, I feel more at ease. Otherwise, I don't know how to face Miss Mu. Xiao Ling said in fear, will she blame me? It's okay. Everything is decided by the director. Xiao Ling grinned silently. She was about to become famous. Mu Shuyao had become famous because of this role. Now, she was about to play this role. This was an opportunity that she didn't have in her previous life. During the opening ceremony, Ning Shu and Xiao Ling met. Both of them were wearing stage costumes. Xiao Ling's light blue dress, coupled with her temperament, made her look like an immortal. Xiao Ling was very suitable for this role. Ning Shu was wearing a red dress. His lips were red and there was a red mole between his eyebrows. He looked enchanting and fierce. This role didn't match Mu Shuyao's temperament and she couldn't control this role. That was why she was tortured so badly. Ning Shu looked at Xiao Ling indifferently. I didn't expect you to be the one replacing me. Xiao Ling said in fear, I don't know why I was chosen as the female lead. I never thought of stealing your role. Ning Shu stretched out her hand. Her fingernails were long. Ning Shu patted Xiao Ling's shoulder, causing Xiao Ling's heart to tremble. It's okay. I'm looking forward to acting with you. Wenluan said that you're a genius at acting, Ning Shu said gently. Xiao Ling felt a little depressed and forced a smile. It's good that you don't blame me. Why would I? Ning Shu smiled. His blood-red lips contrasted with his snow-white teeth. It was a soul-stirring scene. Xiao Ling looked at Ning Shu in a daze. After a few procedures, they offered incense and bowed. After the ceremony, they had a meal and got to know each other. Xiao Ling's crystal-like, translucent, and fragile temperament reduced a lot of hostility. Those who knew the situation looked at Ning Shu sympathetically. Because Yu's introduced us when Ning Shu went to the toilet, she could still hear the crew gossiping that Xiao Ling was best actor Yu's new favorite and that Mu Shuyao was about to fall out of favor. Ning Shu thought it seemed to be the truth. After the gossipers left, Ning Shu came out of the toilet cubicle. He turned on the tap, washed his hands, dried them, and took out his phone. He leaned against the sink and read the gossip. For the sake of ratings, the TV series released some gossip to make the TV series popular. Ning Shu revealed to a verified account on Weibo that the production team had changed the female lead. The original female lead was Yu Wenluan's girlfriend, Mu Shuyao. Later, Yu Wenluan snatched the female lead from his girlfriend. Ning Shu's story was very melodramatic and twisted. The love triangle story was very melodramatic. In short, it was a melodramatic story of how Yu Wenluan treated his old girlfriend and new girlfriend. He would definitely drag Yu Wenluan in. Ning Shu sent it, and the verified account exposed it on Weibo. Ning Shu said this because he didn't expect to get the female lead back. Besides, Ning Shu didn't think it was a big deal to be the second female lead. By doing this, he wanted to destroy Yu Wenluan's mature and steady image that he didn't create any scandals. Ning Shu put away his phone and went out of the toilet. He met Xiao Ling at the door. Xiao Ling greeted Mu Shuyao. Mu Shuyao nodded and walked away. After dinner, everyone went back to the hotel to rest. Ning Shu returned to his room and read the gossip while doing yoga and twisting his body. The verified account's Weibo page was full of Yu Wenluan's fans. They were all talking about Yu Wenluan. Yu Wenluan wasn't such a playboy. He had Yu Wenluan. How could he be two-timing? Although the fans didn't like Mu Shuyao, they felt that Mu Shuyao wasn't worthy of Yu Wenluan. However, it was impossible for Yu Wenluan to cheat on her. It must be a woman who came out of nowhere to hug his thigh. In short, many people were digging up Xiao Ling's background. Xiao Ling was speechless when she saw the gossip online. Although it seemed to be true, Yu Wenlun had indeed called to introduce her. The news was mixed with truth and falsehood. Yu Wenlun now had special feelings for Xiao Ling. In short, Xiao Ling would have to wear the label of a mistress for a while. Xiao Ling had stolen someone else's role. This was irrefutable. There was truth in lies. Only the truth and falsehood could make people believe it. The next day, the crew started filming. Ning Shu's second female lead was all kinds of evil, while the main lead was true, kind, and beautiful. Ning Shu had already memorized the lines by heart. Xiao Ling had just received the script and was anxiously memorizing it scene by scene. When Ning Shu and Xiao Ling were acting together, Ning Shu was calm and composed, while Xiao Ling was a little panicked. She either forgot her lines or was in a bad state. Ning Shu was a femme fatale with a very strong aura. She had to be strong. Wasn't it easy to be strong? Ning Shu lifted Xiao Ling's chin and threatened her to leave the male lead. Otherwise, I'll kill you. I'll make you miserable. Then, Xiao Ling stuttered and forgot her lines. Bad takes. She kept doing bad takes. The director was impatient and scolded Xiao Ling. It was normal for actors to be scolded by directors. In her previous life, Xiao Ling was often scolded by directors. Logically speaking, it was normal and tolerable. But in this life, Xiao Ling was walking the path of a genius. If Yu Wenlun heard about her frequent bad takes, his impression of her would probably plummet. Therefore, Xiao Ling was anxious, very anxious. The more anxious she was, the more chaotic she became. She made many bad takes. In the end, the director smashed his hat and explained the scene to Xiao Ling during the intermission. Ning Shu sat and rested. A makeup artist came over to touch up Ning Shu's makeup and bright red lipstick. Ning Shu took a mirror and looked at herself in the mirror. His face was still the same. Under the contrast of this makeup, he didn't have the ethereal feeling. Instead, he gave off a reckless and evil feeling. Ning Shu frowned at the mirror. This role was not bad. The person who asked for it couldn't suppress the aura of this role. Instead, it was neither fish nor fowl, so he was scolded. Mu Shuyao was suitable for a harmless female lead role. Her temperament was suitable. Chapter 1767. Ning Shu pursed his bright red lips. Was she too evil? Ning Shu smiled slightly and rested his chin on his hand as he watched the director explain the scene to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling felt Ning Shu's gaze and felt even more unnatural. She was so uncomfortable that she broke out in a cold sweat. Xiao Ling understood that she was completely suppressed by the other party's aura. She thought that the other party was just a vase who relied on Yu Wenlun. She didn't expect her to be so capable. Especially when she didn't have stage fright at all. Her casual appearance gave people a lot of pressure. Xiao Ling was anxious. Originally, the second female lead's character wasn't very likable. However, under the other party's acting, she felt like she had come alive. She became much more three-dimensional. If this continued, the glory of the first female lead would be suppressed by the second female lead. Xiao Ling used all her acting skills from her previous life and all the strength in her body. Xiao Ling had no choice but to ask the system for help. Can you help me? Otherwise, I'll be reduced to a supporting role. I don't know who exposed Yu Wenlun's introduction to the crew, so the internet has a bad impression of me. If I'm suppressed by Mu Shuyao again, it'll be difficult for me to survive. Xiao Ling was anxious. The system thought for a moment and said, I'll give you 50% more acting skills. However, the condition is that you have to conquer Yu Wenlun as soon as possible. Yu Wenlun's filming is done. The next task is to let Yu Wenluan visit the set and make Mu Shuyao jealous. The system gave her some benefits and gave her another task. Xiao Ling was a smart person. She called Yu Wenluan and said that she had encountered a problem with her acting. With the increase in acting skills, Xiao Ling could now act with Ning Shu. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. It was indeed different with a cheat. The two of them acted to their heart's content. Xiao Ling almost used all her strength to resist the other party's pressure and aura. Yu Wenluan received a call from Xiao Ling and rushed to the set to visit. As for the reason, of course, he was here to see his girlfriend. In fact, he was here for Xiao Ling. However, he needed a name. Yu Wenluan was overjoyed. At least when Xiao Ling called him, Yu Wenluan was happy. "Ah, why are you here?" Ning Shu pretended to be pleasantly surprised. He knew that Yu Wenluan had come to see Xiao Ling. "Let me take a look at you. Your style is not bad." Yu Wenluan casually praised, his eyes searching for Xiao Ling's figure. Ning Shu could see that Yu Wenluan was absent-minded. When he saw Xiao Ling, his eyes lit up. Xiao Ling sneered in her heart. Yu Wenluan had come because she had called him over. Did she think that he was here to see her? She really thought too highly of herself. She was so pitiful. His surprised look filled Xiao Ling's heart with pity. Xiao Ling walked over and called Yu Wenluan master. Then she said, "Miss Mu is amazing." Ning Shu smiled. "This Miss Qiao is even more amazing. Master, there are some things that I don't understand. I'm very confused. Can I ask you for advice?" "Master, come over here. I'll pour you some tea." Xiao Ling called Yu Wenluan away, completely ignoring Ning Shu, his real girlfriend. However, Xiao Ling turned around and said to Ning Shu with a smile, "Miss Mu, you don't mind, right? I want to ask you some questions." Ning Shu flicked his sleeves slightly, and the wide sleeves drew a beautiful arc in the air. "Since you call Wenluan master, then you should call me master's wife," Ning Shu said indifferently. "If you want to disgust me, I'll disgust you too." Xiao Ling's face twitched. This person was really, Ning Shu smiled. "Go ahead. I'm not a stingy person. Besides, I've always believed in Wenluan." Xiao Ling held her breath in her heart. She didn't know what to do and felt very unhappy. She was clearly trying to make the other party jealous and do something irrational to make Yu Wenluan hate her. However, the other party was so magnanimous, just like an ancient legal wife. He was so graceful and magnanimous. Or did he really think that Yu Wenluan loved her and trusted her so much? However, Yu Wenluan's favorability towards her was 60, which had reached the level of liking her. This meant that Yu Wenluan didn't like Mu Shuyao. To think that Mu Shuyao thought that her boyfriend liked her. How sad. Xiao Ling and Yu Wenluan were talking while Ning Shu was playing with his phone. When he was free, he would take a selfie and post it on Weibo. Then, he secretly took a few photos of Xiao Ling and Yu Wenluan. Many of the crew members found it strange. He left his real girlfriend aside and hung out with Xiao Ling. Many people looked at Ning Shu with pity in their eyes. It was the kind of pity one would have for a concubine who had been banished to the cold palace. Ning Shu was speechless. "What does it have to do with me? Master, does your girlfriend really like you? Isn't she jealous when she sees me with you?" Xiao Ling said mischievously. She blinked and her eyelashes fluttered. She was incomparably mischievous. When Yu Wenluan saw Xiao Ling like this, his heart itched. He really wanted to cover her eyes with his hand and feel her eyelashes brush against his palm. She's not the kind of person to throw a tantrum and be jealous. She's sensible. Yu Wenluan was moved. Xiao Ling pouted. Even sensible people will worry about gains and losses when they encounter love. They will also be anxious and jealous. She's so calm. She doesn't look like someone who has fallen in love at all. I like her because she's sensible. Yu Wenlun frowned. Are you saying that she doesn't like me? Yu Wenlun felt a little uncomfortable. Maybe. I don't know why she's with you if she doesn't like you. Xiao Ling shrugged and said playfully. Why? Wasn't it because he was the best actor? Mu Shuyao was just coveting his resources. Yu Wenlun had a good impression of Xiao Ling to begin with. He was brooding over Xiao Ling's seemingly unintentional words. A hint formed in his heart. Mu Shuyao had become his girlfriend because Mu Shuyao coveted his resources. She wanted to benefit from him. Let's not talk about her. What obstacles do you have? Yu Wenlun didn't want to talk about Mu Shuyao. He felt like he had been deceived. Mu Shuyao didn't love him. Just like what the fans said, she was just hugging his thigh. Men could take it for granted that they didn't love women, but they couldn't tolerate their woman not loving them. Now, Yu Wenlun felt a little wronged and betrayed. Yu Wenlun rubbed the space between his eyebrows. Xiao Ling asked, "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" Yu Wenlun met Xiao Ling's worried gaze. Her watery eyes were filled with admiration, concern, and an indescribable feeling. This feeling made Yu Wenlun's heart beat wildly. After being deceived by his girlfriend and being mentally weak, meeting such a girl made him feel like he had fallen in love. Chapter 1768. Xiao Ling didn't know what had happened to make Yu Wenlun's impression of her rise. Xiao Ling was overjoyed. She didn't make Mu Shuyao jealous. Instead, she made Yu Wenlun fall in love with her. Xiao Ling took a deep breath. As long as she fell in love with him, things would be easy in the future. I'll be practicing with Mu Shuyao later. You can watch from the side and see if I have any shortcomings, Xiao Ling said to Yu Wenlun. Yu Wenlun nodded. At this time, he would try his best to satisfy Xiao Ling's needs. He tried his best to help because he wanted the other party to reciprocate his feelings. The director called Xiao Ling and Ning Shu over to start the filming. This was a fighting scene and they needed to hang on wires. It was a very painful thing to hang on wires. The staff tied the wires to Ning Shu and Xiao Ling. Ning Shu and Xiao Ling held prop swords in their hands. Ning Shu pursed his bright red lips slightly and brushed his hair. His aura slowly changed. What was this fake plan? Ning Shu didn't know how many times he had fought with him for real. Moreover, he had to fight beautifully. A martial arts director guided Ning Shu and Xiao Ling on how to fight. Yu Wenlun sat at the side and sized up Ning Shu and Xiao Ling, observing their acting. In terms of fighting scenes, Mu Shuyao was as beautiful as a dancer, but her eyes were especially fierce and murderous, mixed with disgust and disdain. Her hair was flying in the air, and when she was floating in the air, her red clothes were like fire. Setting aside the issue of the character design, just this scene alone was very stunning. Yu Wenlun was a little surprised. Mu Shuyao had always been gentle. When did her acting become so explosive? It was so ostentatious. When the swords collided and the two women looked at each other, Yu Wenlun was really surprised. Xiao Ling was very unfamiliar with fighting. Although her acting skills were good, she was indeed suppressed by the other party in terms of aura. Yu Wenlun frowned. It seemed that even if Mu Shuyao wasn't the female lead, she would still be popular. This TV series might create two pearls, the female lead and the second lead. Yu Wenlun silently glanced at the male lead who didn't have much of a presence. Two women fighting over a man, but they didn't act out what was worth fighting for. It was like sitting on wax. Yes, very good, very good. The director was very satisfied and shouted through the loudspeaker. The two people who were suspended in mid-air were also slowly put down, and the pressure on their bodies was removed. Ning Shu rubbed his ribs. It was really uncomfortable being hung up. Xiao Ling was delicate and weak. When she came down from the wire, her face was pale. Yu Wenluan almost couldn't control himself and hurriedly went to help Xiao Ling. Ning Shu placed his hand on Yu Wenluan's hand and said to him with a smile, "Hanging on the wire is tough. Thank you for helping me. You're so considerate." Yu Wenluan didn't look too happy, but he couldn't fling Mu Shuyao's hand away in front of so many people. After all, Mu Shuyao was still his girlfriend. She had to maintain her image in front of so many people. She couldn't afford to ruin her image. Ning Shu held Yu Wenluan's hand like an empress dowager, as if treating Yu Wenluan as a eunuch. Yu Wenluan turned around to look at Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling's expression was a little dazed and her face was pale. The pitiful look of being abandoned made Yu Wenluan's heart ache. Ning Shu glanced at Yu Wenluan's expression from the corner of his eye and clicked his tongue in his heart. She was obviously here to woo you. She was ambiguous and played all kinds of psychological tactics. Who would take the other seriously when it comes to playing games? From the beginning to the end, Xiao Ling had never said that she liked him. This was the brilliance of Xiao Ling. She could still woo others without confirming their relationship. Any relationship could be explained by being friends. Fuck, idiot. Ning Shu held Yu Wenluan's hand and sat down. He took a bottle of water and drank it. Yu Wenluan immediately walked over to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling had the side effects of hanging on the wire and hadn't recovered for a long time. Her face was pale and it made one's heart ache. Ning Shu touched his face and felt fearless. Was he too strong or was Xiao Ling too weak? Ning Shu bit the straw and watched the interaction between the two. A stylist combed Ning Shu's hair and fixed the hair accessories. After the stylist left, Ning Shu found a big influencer on Weibo to expose that Best Actor Yu Wenluan had come to the set, but he ignored his real girlfriend the whole time and was with Xiao Ling. Of course, the exposure was on her side. Of course, it also vaguely said that she was already yesterday's flower and that it was only a matter of time before they broke up. In any case, she portrayed herself as a second-rate star who had been dumped by the best actor, a bitter star who had been robbed of her love. Even if they had to break up in the end, she would let Yu Wenluan and Xiao Ling get involved. After a break, the director let them start work again. Yu Wenluan saw that Xiao Ling wasn't feeling well and didn't look good. He couldn't help but say to the director, "Can you rest for a while?" Yu Wenluan was a best actor after all. He had some face in the entertainment industry. Although the director was unhappy that Yu Wenluan interfered in the production team's matters, he still had to give him some face. However, he didn't shoot Xiao Ling, but other scenes. Of course, that included Ning Shu. So, Ning Shu received another wave of sympathetic eyes. Her real boyfriend didn't care about her and went to care about other women. He didn't say a word for her and asked her to rest. Ning Shu was very sensible and put on a bitter face. She pursed her lips tightly, trying to hold back her anger. People sympathized with the weak. Ning Shu and Yu Wenluan were legitimate, but Xiao Ling was the one who interfered in other people's relationships. The people in the production team looked at Xiao Ling and Yu Wenluan with a subtle look. However, the entertainment industry had always been complicated and utilitarian. There were too many things like putting on a show. Although Ning Shu didn't look good, she was in a different state when filming. She could even perform better than usual. For this kind of villain role, Ning Shu was handy. It seemed that she had always played this kind of villain role. She laughed with her hands on her hips. While filming here, the two of them were resting, whispering sweet nothings to each other. Xiao Ling had never been protected in the entertainment industry in her previous life. In this life, she had someone protecting her like this. She felt warm in her heart. She was satisfied. Her vanity was satisfied. There was a man protecting her like this. Xiao Ling was faintly moved, but it was only for a moment because she knew that she still had to conquer other men. This time, Yu Wenluan was successfully conquered. It gave Xiao Ling a lot of confidence. She could even conquer a best actor, a king, a composer, a lyricist, and a supergroup. She was like a fish in water in the entertainment industry. Her goal was to conquer the Prince Charming of the entertainment industry. Our slogan is, seduction, seduction, seduction. With the system, Xiao Ling was full of confidence. After conquering the Prince Charming of the entertainment industry, she would become a best actress, and win an Oscar. She would reach the peak of life and become the goddess of the entertainment industry. Just thinking about it made Xiao Ling's blood boil. Her mind was full of beautiful blueprints. Chapter 1769. Ning Shu was indifferent to the matter between Xiao Ling and Yu Wenluan. Even if the two of them were together now, Ning Shu would only watch indifferently. Because he didn't love her, he didn't feel anything. Boyfriend and girlfriend were just an identity. They couldn't ask the other party to take responsibility. If they had a change of heart, they had a change of heart. However, she also reminded Ning Shu to keep an eye on her boyfriend so that he wouldn't be seduced by someone else. Ning Shu just smiled and said that it was impossible. Then, others said that she was silly. Silly, ha ha ha. Ning Shu laughed with his hands on his hips. Yu Wenluan stayed on set for a long time because he wanted to visit his girlfriend. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. Why was he using her as a shield again? This was too much of a bully. Yu Wenluan stayed on set for a month. During this month, Yu Wenluan looked at Xiao Ling with tenderness in his eyes. However, Xiao Ling's attitude towards Yu Wenluan wasn't as warm as before. She kept calling Yu Wenluan master because she wanted to position their relationship as master and disciple. Xiao Ling was so distant because Yu Wenluan had completely fallen in love with her. When Ning Shu was free, he would take some ambiguous photos. Ning Shu couldn't figure out why Yu Wenluan fell in love with Xiao Ling so easily. Could it be that he lacked love? Ning Shu also felt that he lacked love. He grew up in the hospital and stayed there for so many years. He really lacked love. Why couldn't he fall in love with someone so easily? Could it be that he was emotionally deficient? He felt that it was too childish. He should be respectful. Even though Yu Wenluan obviously had a problem, Ning Shu still held it in and didn't say anything. The crew shook their heads. Yu Wenluan was busy with his movie and had to leave. When he left, he asked Xiao Ling to take good care of him. He also asked Ning Shu to work hard. It was just a casual sentence. Ning Shu suddenly shouted, "Wenluan, do you not like me anymore? Are you going to break up with me? The internet is saying that you like Xiao Ling Is that true?" Ning Shu's howl gave Yu Wenluan a fright and attracted everyone's gazes. Yu Wenluan grabbed Ning Shu's wrist. "What are you doing? Keep your voice down. Don't make a scene in public. Don't you know what you're doing?" Ning Shu covered his face. "I can't take it anymore. I watched you treat Xiao Ling so well. I really can't take it anymore. Enough, stop messing around, do you understand?" Yu Wenluan was very impatient and said in a low voice, "Look at the situation." The people around them were pointing at them and whispering. Ning Shu continued to pester endlessly. "I've been trying my best to hold it in, but I really can't hold it in anymore. Are you going to break up with me and be with Xiao Ling Enough." Yu Wenluan was very concerned about his reputation. With Ning Shu's commotion, the slight guilt in Yu Wenluan's heart dissipated. Ning Shu only said, "I just want an explanation. Even if you want to be with Xiao Ling, I have nothing to say. But why are you so good to Xiao Ling, in front of me and ignoring me? Xiao Ling, saw the commotion and hurried over. She said to Ning Shu, Miss Mu, stop messing around. There are so many people here and it's not good for your reputation. I promise that I have nothing to do with your boyfriend. Even if there is, it's a master-disciple relationship. Stop messing around and making things difficult for master. Xiao Ling, was very righteous. In contrast, Ning Shu didn't know right from wrong and didn't know the big picture. Ning Shu was fearless. After all, she didn't need to curry favor with Yu Wenluan. If she didn't make a scene, she would really think that she could tolerate it. When things were unfair, people would cry out. Ning Shu's appearance gave people the impression that she couldn't bear it any longer. She looked like she had reached her limit. Even if she made a scene, she was on the right side. Ning Shu said to Xiao Ling, you are also an ungrateful person. Wenluan has taken care of you and helped you everywhere because he likes you. If you don't like Wenluan and can't respond to his feelings, then don't provoke him. Don't use the excuse of being a master-disciple relationship. There is a man who likes you. Can't you feel it? Do you want to use him and send him away in the name of friends? Ning Shu said very straightforwardly, making Xiao Ling's face turn red. Enough. When are you going to stop messing around? When did I like Xiao Ling? Don't talk nonsense. I think your brain is not clear. Yu Wenluan scolded in a low voice with a threatening look in his eyes. Ning Shu didn't care about Yu Wenluan's threat at all. She wasn't afraid of breaking up. Anyway, they were going to break up. Miss Mu, you really misunderstood. Xiao Ling's eyes were a little red. If you break up because of me, I really am. Yu Wenluan put down his work and came to the set for a month. He watched over you every day and even gave you my role as the female lead. This is just a normal friend. If this isn't love, then tell me. Yu Wenluan left me aside and didn't ask about me. Xiao Ling, don't pretend to be obedient after you've taken advantage of me. She wanted to poke the window paper and tear off the cover. You want to play ambiguous, I have to expose it. Damn, this feeling is so fucking good. Xiao Ling didn't expect Ning Shu to talk nonsense like this. She couldn't help but say, Miss Mu, do you have to make everyone embarrassed like this? I'm the one who's embarrassed. I know Wenluan likes you, but you played him. First, you took the role that originally belonged to me from him. Then, you watched over you. Ning Shu covered her face. She really couldn't shed any tears. She could only cover her face like this. Yu Wenluan's face was very ugly. First, it was because Ning Shu exposed his thoughts so rashly. Second, it was because Xiao Ling denied his feelings. Yu Wenluan couldn't stand the gazes of the people around him. He turned and left. Xiao Ling was bitter because she heard the system tell her that the favorability suddenly dropped by 10 points. If it wasn't full, then it would be as deep as the sea. How could it drop? The system said directly, people's moods change. At this time, you shouldn't show up. You probably denied Yu Wenluan's feelings in front of everyone and made him unhappy. Xiao Ling had a splitting headache. Was she going to have to stick to Yu Wenluan in the future? Should she give Yu Wenluan some benefits? But the problem was that Mu Shuyao, this idiot, made things clear, which made her very passive. Moreover, if this matter spread out, it would be very bad for her reputation. How could she woo other men? To think that she still thought that Mu Shuyao was a noble lady in ancient times, a graceful and magnanimous wife. Such a sudden move made Yu Wenluan's favorable impression of her drop. Xiao Ling was really embarrassed. If it was so ambiguous, it would be fine if it wasn't exposed. If it was exposed, how could she face Yu Wenluan? Chapter 1770. Xiao Ling looked at Ning Shu, who was covering his face, and was angry. This woman must be doing it on purpose. She did it on purpose. Now, Yu Wenluan's impression of her had dropped. It would be difficult to get it back now. Moreover, the window paper was broken. It would be awkward if she tried to get it back. Ning Shu raised her head. If you really like Yu Wenluan, and Yu Wenluan likes you, then you should be together. Don't be friends, master and disciple. I can tell that he likes you, and you like him too. Otherwise, why would you be stuck together? I can fulfill your wishes. Xiao Ling was furious. Who the hell wants your wishes? Xiao Ling who had been reborn, wanted to be a winner in life. Otherwise, she would be sorry for her rebirth and the system that she was bound to. How could she be bound to a man? If she couldn't win over other men and complete the system's missions, then everything she had now would be gone. She would be like in her previous life, a small actress who couldn't make it big. She would be bullied by the director for a small role, and any staff member on the set could bully her. Now that she had a good starting point, she couldn't go back to her previous life. She could only bite the bullet and move forward. Xiao Ling was also very lucky to have such an opportunity. She didn't need to be taken advantage of by the director and assistant director, be fancied by the movie king, and now become the female lead of a movie. She had to rely on this role to become popular. She couldn't go back to the past. Xiao Ling really didn't want to argue with Ning Shu anymore. What embarrassing things would he say later? Ning Shu wiped the non-existent tears on his face with his fingers. The stylist came over to touch up Ning Shu's makeup. You too. The stylist couldn't help but say, you're too straightforward. Sigh. Ning Shu sighed. I don't want to see Yu Wenluan being treated like that. At least for now, I'm still his girlfriend. The stylist took out his phone and opened the video. Look, I've recorded the conversation between the two of you. I'll send it to you. Sisterly, why are you so gossipy? Ning Shu couldn't help but say. Ning Shu got along well with the crew. He wasn't overbearing and was calm. He didn't complain and could even chat with the crew. I'm only giving it to you because I think you're a fool. Actually, this kind of gossip can also earn some money if you sell it to the magazines. Don't spread it around, said Sisterly, I won't talk too much. You don't have to pass it to me. If you want to sell it to the paparazzi, that's fine too. I don't care anyway. After all, after this mess, Yu Wenluan and I will definitely break up. The stylist, Sisterly, curled her lips. You're so easy to bully. If it were anyone else, they would have given that Xiao Ling 2 big slaps. But a graceful woman is the most charming. You're better than Xiao Ling. Vixens are good at using their skin to confuse people. Us women see things differently from men. Women gnash their teeth in disdain, but men like them. Ning Shu laughed. We don't care about men or women. After a while, we'll be done with filming. We can have a good rest. Yes. Ning Shu's character had been killed by the male lead. He had gritted his teeth and killed him. As for Ning Shu, the video between Xiao Ling and Yu Wenluan had been uploaded to the internet. There were several videos uploaded from different angles. It seemed that there was more than one person who had taken the video. Ning Shu felt that this was a publicity stunt. A drama's first and second female lead had a scandal with the film king. Naturally, the drama's popularity came. Xiao Ling couldn't help but scratch her head. These videos were a stain on her reputation. In the future, when others talked about her, this stain would be mentioned. It was really annoying. Moreover, the system had already notified her that his affection for her had dropped by 5 points. Yu Wenluan was the kind of person who didn't like scandals. Now, he was dissatisfied with her and Mu Shuyao. Mu Shuyao was really harming others without benefiting herself. Did this brainless idiot really think that she could threaten a man like this? She would only push a man further and further away. To get a man's heart, the inferior method was to be obedient. The intermediate method was to keep a distance. The superior method was to get what one wanted. She had to think of a way to get Yu Wenluan's affection back. She had to make Yu Wenluan happy. She really didn't know why Mu Shuyao was so lucky in her previous life. Wasn't it all because of Yu Wenluan? In this life, she wasn't so lucky. After removing the mask, she was just an incompetent woman. Today was Ning Shu's last scene. She was stabbed in the chest by the male lead. It should be the most explosive acting. She was in pain and resentment, and she was still cursing people until she died. It was really rare to see such a thoroughly evil character. This character was used to set off the female lead. Ning Shu felt that she was very suitable to play this kind of villain. She could scare the male lead into a daze in minutes. There was actually such a vicious woman in the world. Then, the director shouted cut. Ning Shu immediately jumped up, wiped her tears, and pulled out the sword on her body. I'm going to get my lunchbox. Without the second female lead to promote the development of the plot, there wasn't much to go on. It was just the male and female lead happily together. Without Ning Shu's scenes, she stayed in the restaurant every day and put on a face mask when she had nothing to do. After being exposed to the wind and sun for a period of time, she put on heavy makeup every day. Her skin was a little weak. Her face was still very important. Otherwise, if the camera zoomed in and saw her face full of thick pores, she would be ridiculed. She had to protect her face well. In the end, when the whole crew finished filming, everyone had a meal together. Ning Shu looked around the table and asked, "Why isn't Xiao Ling here?" She left as soon as she finished filming. I don't know where she went. Sister Li sneered. Didn't you finish filming a long time ago? Why are you still here? I don't have any other work. I'm just waiting for everyone to have a meal together, said Ning Shu. You're so considerate. But someone probably went to look for her. Sister Li shook her head. Ning Shu just smiled, but there was a hint of bitterness in his smile. While Ning Shu was eating the banquet, Xiao Ling really went to look for Yu Wenluan. Yu Wenluan was a little cold to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling was speechless, but she knew that men needed to be coaxed. She had no choice. She could only endure it. Xiao Ling said helplessly to Yu Wenluan, I'm sorry. I know you're angry. I'm not angry. Yu Wenluan said coldly. He was angry. Under the system's notification, Xiao Ling knew that her favorability had dropped again. Seriously. Favorability was easy to increase. But when it dropped, it was like an elevator with a broken cable. Did she have to go back and forth? But if she really did it, it would be engraved with a man's mark and she would become a man's possession. Xiao Ling wanted a man who couldn't get what he wanted spiritually. There was no physical entanglement. This way, she wouldn't belong to a man alone. Chapter 1771. Xiao Ling didn't want to be known as a loose woman. If it affected her reputation, she wouldn't be able to get other men. She was afraid that they would run away when they saw her. Xiao Ling took out a script and said, Master, this is the script I wrote. Take a look. Xiao Ling could only take out the script given by the system. As for the feelings, she could only be vague. Using talent to attract men. Yu Wenluan was a little surprised. You know how to write scripts? I looked up the format of the script online and then came up with a story. What do you think of this script? Xiao Ling said. The script was very thick. It's a TV series. It's not easy. You still write scripts when you're filming? Writing a script was very tiring. When there was no inspiration, it was like scratching your head. Xiao Ling was annoyed. She took it out too quickly. I wrote this before I entered the entertainment industry. At that time, I was a big fan of yours, so I wrote the male lead based on your image. Yu Wenlun flipped through the script and looked at it slowly. The more he looked, the more amazed he was. This show will definitely be popular. Love in Blue, that's a good name, Yu Wenlun said. The image of the male lead was indeed suitable for him. Xiao Ling smiled and said, I don't know if it will be popular or not, but Master, you are very suitable for the role. Master, don't be angry with me. You're new to the entertainment industry. There are some things that you don't have to participate in. You are a genius, so act well. Now it seems that you are a genius at writing scripts. Be steady and you will definitely succeed, Yu Wenlun said. Yes, I must listen to you. I shouldn't have said anything to Miss Mu. Xiao Ling looked guilty but she was happy. His affection for her had gone up. What do you plan to do with this script? Yu Wenlun asked. This is my gift to you. You have always taken care of me. I can't bear your care forever, Xiao Ling said obediently. Yu Wenlun couldn't help but say, why are you so silly? Do you know how much this script is worth? You're giving it to me like this. If Master feels bad, then give me a small role. I want to learn from you. Xiao Ling said playfully. Yu Wenlun thought about it. How about this? My studio intends to invest in this show. I will be the male lead and you will be the second female lead. Xiao Ling's heart leaped with joy. If this was the case, she would be able to take another step forward. Back then, when she saw the script, she cried. Definitely a big fire. Although the favorable impression points had returned, it hadn't reached 100 yet. Only when she acted with Yu Wenlun as the male and female lead could she get her favorability back. After this one was done, it was time for the next one. Ning Shu took the plane back. His manager, Sister Zhao, came to the airport to pick up Ning Shu. I saw the news and gossip online. You shouldn't have made such a fuss. Even if Yu Wenlun really has a change of heart and wants to break up with you, you shouldn't have made such a fuss. If you break up peacefully, you can still get some benefits. Sister Zhao couldn't help but say. You brushed away Yu Wenlun's face, and Yu Wenlun was embarrassed. Why did you have to act in a moment of pleasure, and in the end, you won't be able to get anything out of it? He might even get angry out of humiliation and suppress you. Sister Zhao chattered to Ning Shu as she drove. Ning Shu supported his forehead with his hand and looked out of the window. He said calmly, Yu Wenlun can't cover the sky with one hand in the entertainment industry. He can't cover the sky with one hand, but he still has more weight than you in the entertainment industry. If he really wants to suppress you, others will give him some face. Sister Zhao couldn't help but say. Ning Shu didn't say a word. Then have a good rest. The drama has finished filming. If there are any promotional activities, you have to cooperate. Also, there will be some harmless scandals. When the time comes, don't panic, Sister Zhao said. Ning Shu nodded. The internet has already made a fuss. Yu Wenlun has been dragged in for consumption. The popularity is already very high. Sister Zhao sighed. Haven't you seen through the matter of changing the female lead? That's the female lead. You can change it just like that. In the entertainment industry, you have to grab hold of it. Ning Shu said calmly, okay, Sister Zhao, I'll listen to you. Ning Shu couldn't stand Sister Zhao's nagging anymore. He could only agree. Back at the apartment, Sister Zhao was considerate of Ning Shu's breakup. She let Ning Shu have a good rest and wait for the drama to start airing. Sister Zhao was very nervous. The second female lead was really. This role was really hard to explain. Ning Shu listened to the arrangement obediently. After Sister Zhao left, Ning Shu went out and bought some bones to stew at home. As he stewed, he wore tight yoga clothes and twisted his body to do yoga. It was very leisurely. Then, he started to gossip. The comments on the internet were mixed. Of course, Yu Wenluan's fans would run to her Weibo page every day to scold her. Anyway, some irrational fans would find excuses for their idols no matter what they did. Xiao Ling also didn't open a Weibo account. She probably knew that if she did, she would definitely be scolded. If she wanted to open a Weibo account, she would have to wait until she had works and fans. Ning Shu was indifferent to the scolding. He raised his phone and posted a selfie. Then, he said a lot of chicken soup for the soul. Of course, with Ning Shu's identity as Yu Wenluan's girlfriend, there were still many people who paid attention. When Ning Shu posted on Weibo, there were people who left comments. Some people said that Ning Shu was pretending to be serious. Some people said that Ning Shu was ruining Yu Wenluan's reputation. Ning Shu looked at her phone and rolled her eyes seductively. There were a lot of trolls and ghostwriters on the internet. Ning Shu followed the scriptwriter who had received the script. This scriptwriter said on Weibo that a new drama had been released. Now, he was recruiting actors and would announce the name of the drama. Ning Shu looked at Yu Wenluan's Weibo. Yu Wenluan said that his next plan was to film a drama and he hoped that everyone would support him. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. He didn't expect Xiao Ling to take out the script so early. This drama would definitely be a hit once it was filmed. It would sweep through several countries. Yu Wenluan's warm personality was even more deeply rooted in people's hearts. It would create huge profits for Yu Wenluan. It was a pity that the two companies were going to collide. Both sides were preparing for this drama. When the time came, there would be a wrangle. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. Xiao Ling was an outsider. Compared to a professional, who should he believe? Ning Shu sat calmly on the fishing platform. Moreover, there were good and bad public opinions. For such a thing to happen, it depended on who had the ability to get the script. And if it attracted attention, the popularity of the drama would rise. This wasn't Xiao Ling's thing to begin with. Songs, dramas, and movies. Xiao Ling took them out and put Xiao Ling's name on them. Then, Xiao Ling became a talented woman and an all-round super queen. A person's energy was limited. It wasn't easy for a person to be proficient and outstanding in a certain industry. Chapter 1772. But someone like Xiao Ling was simply a monster. Everything she took out was popular. Her scripts were popular, her songs were popular. Some people spent their entire lives accumulating knowledge before writing songs that were passed down for generations to come. All the glory in the entertainment industry was snatched away by Xiao Ling. Yes, and the people around her were all dragons and phoenixes in the entertainment industry. There were fans who liked and respected her. This was popularity, luck, and the hearts of the people. Since ancient times, those who had the hearts of the people had the world. Moreover, she had conquered many men and seized a lot of luck. Xiao Ling's glory was boundless, and the system seized the heavenly Tao's luck. It was mutually beneficial. Ning Shu stretched lazily and drank the soup. It was really very comfortable. The production team let Ning Shu attend the press conference and publicity event. At the publicity event, Ning Shu and Xiao Ling bumped into each other. Ning Shu and Xiao Ling were the parties involved in the scandal. Seeing them on stage like this made the reporters very excited. One was a new love, the other was an old love. Sparks flew everywhere. The reporters kept talking about Yu Wenluan. Xiao Ling regretted coming to this publicity event. But if she didn't come, they would say that she was a big shot. It wasn't easy to get a good impression of Yu Wenluan. If she said something wrong this time, she would make Yu Wenlun unhappy again. Fucking bastard. When he had deep feelings for her, he would kneel down and fuck her, controlling his mood. Xiao Ling avoided the reporters' questions again and again. Then, the reporters aimed their fire at Ning Shu and asked if Ning Shu was going to break up with Yu Wenlun. Ning Shu held the microphone and thought for a moment before saying, "We all have our own pain that we don't want to share with others, so we can only choose to hide it. We choose to bear it alone, cry alone, and be sad alone. Then, we will slowly transform and gradually forget it. It will become a memory and we will no longer ask about it. But in the end, it is only a person's feeling." Ning Shu's words basically meant that her fate with Yu Wenlun was over. Ning Shu touched his cheeks and felt that his teeth were sore. Then, the reporters asked if it was because of some people that she and Yu Wenlun had problems. Ning Shu's expression dimmed. "No, it's between me and Yu Wenlun. It has nothing to do with anyone else." Ning Shu said that he was fine, but his face clearly said, "I'm in trouble, I'm in big trouble, I'm out of love, I'm in pain, blah blah blah." Xiao Ling, that if you don't know how to talk, can you not talk? It seemed like he was explaining, but it was vague. He must have done it on purpose. Xiao Ling, didn't say anything. She sat through the publicity meeting as if she was sitting on pins and needles. After getting off the stage, Xiao Ling grabbed Ning Shu. "Why did you say that? Are you saying that I ruined your relationship?" Ning Shu shook his head. "When did I say that you ruined my relationship with Yu Wenlun? Are you really related to Yu Wenlun?" Xiao Ling wanted to roll her eyes. She turned around and left. In any case, she was going to go against this woman. If she didn't go against her, then so be it. She and Mu Shuyao had been going against each other ever since she had tried to woo Yu Wenlun. Ning Shu looked at Xiao Ling's back view and smiled faintly. The Xianxia drama started airing. Because of the relationship between the first and second female leads and the best actor, this drama was very popular. The ratings were actually not bad. Ning Shu sat cross-legged on the sofa, turned on the TV, and watched it. At least he could contribute to the ratings. Ning Shu hugged a pillow and watched the TV. Seeing that he had appeared, he was really stunned. He had flaming red lips and was dressed in red. He was wantonly and looked very evil. Ning Shu touched his face. The client's face was still good-looking. Ning Shu felt that he could still hold on. This role was all right. Ning Shu took out his phone and scrolled through Weibo. Because the production team and investors had bought hot spots on Weibo, there were still many people discussing it. Ning Shu wanted to see the audience's and netizens' comments about him. The drama had only aired 2 episodes and the audience hadn't gotten into character yet. At most, they were discussing his makeup and style. There was also a love triangle. It was a love triangle between Ning Shu, Xiao Ling, and Yu Wenlun. The first and second female leads were very good-looking. In addition, it was filmed in the beautiful 5A scenic area. The style was very beautiful. Ning Shu's makeup was very impactful. One could feel his domineering aura through the screen. Moreover, when Ning Shu was fighting, he also released his pressure. She was a martial artist, so her aura was very strong. It was also in line with the temperament of a femme fatale. With the broadcast of the drama became popular. At the same time, Ning Shu and Xiao Ling were also popular. Ning Shu, this femme fatale, made people love and hate him. Some liked him, and some hated him. Of course, there were also people who liked and hated Xiao Ling's character. These were 2 completely different characters, representing 2 different kinds of people. It was probably because Ning Shu's aura was too aggressive. Many people rushed to Ning Shu's Weibo, saying that Ning Shu had turned them gay. Of course, Ning Shu's character wasn't likable in the first place. The character design was completely to set off the female lead. His viciousness made people gnash their teeth. If he relied on his aura and acting skills, he wouldn't be as bad as in the plot. However, although such a distinct character was vicious, his looks and aura were special. Any picture taken would be a beautiful picture. His eyes were moving, and his eyebrows weren't the graceful eyebrows of a woman. Instead, the ends of his eyebrows were raised. It was abnormally charming. When he turned around and smiled, there was a kind of beauty that transcended gender. His drawings were everywhere, and his popularity was actually higher than Xiao Ling-er's. Xiao Ling-er opened a Weibo account. Xiao Ling-er relied on this drama to make people familiar with her. Xiao Ling said on Weibo that she was about to star in a drama. Xiao Ling-er's speed was simply flying. She had just finished acting in a drama, and now she was the female lead of another drama. However, she received the same treatment as Mu Shuyao. Many people scolded Xiao Ling-er for being a mistress. Yu Wenluan's fans said, "Fuck, another woman came to hug my thigh." Ning Shu smiled slightly. Fortunately, he was popular. Ning Shu took out his phone, took a selfie, and posted it on Weibo. As a celebrity, he had to maintain his popularity and manage his own fans. After removing his heavy makeup, Ning Shu's temperament was much softer. Ning Shu was popular. His manager, Sister Zhao, also paid attention to Ning Shu and fought for some jobs for Ning Shu. Moreover, they were endorsements for big-name products. Ning Shu accepted all of them. If he had a job and earned more money, he would be able to buy a house. Ning Shu carefully inspected the products that he wanted to endorse and checked the netizens' comments on the internet. There was also a cell phone that Ning Shu wanted to endorse. However, the condition was that Ning Shu had to keep using this phone. The endorsement fee was very reasonable. Ning Shu didn't have any objections. It was the same as using any phone. Moreover, he didn't have to spend money to buy this phone. Ning Shu accepted it. Moreover, this phone was from a big-name brand. After that, Ning Shu was busy with the announcements. For a moment, it was very popular. There were also scripts that were found for Ning Shu. Ning Shu screened them one by one. However, during this period, something neither big nor small happened. Yu Wenluan unilaterally announced on Weibo that they had broken up. Chapter 1773. Ning Shu was considered a relatively popular female celebrity now. Coupled with the love triangle incident during this period of time, her popularity did not go down. Yu Wenluan announced their breakup on Weibo. To be honest, Ning Shu had been busy recently. He was busy catching up with jobs and earning money to buy a house. With a house, no matter what happened, she would have a place to go. Apart from the time they met on set, the two of them had never met before. They had never contacted each other or made an appointment to meet. Now that Yu Wenluan announced their breakup on Weibo, Ning Shu was not surprised at all. Moreover, she had been waiting for Yu Wenluan to break up with her. Hanging on to Yu Wenluan's girlfriend would only bring benefits and no harm. The one who was anxious was Yu Wenluan. He didn't want her to use his name to gain benefits. Moreover, there was someone she liked in her heart, so they would definitely break up. Yu Wenluan posted on Weibo that they had broken up. His fans immediately clapped and cheered, saying that their best actor had finally gotten rid of this vase. "I won't let you hug my thigh anymore." At this point in time, in the hearts of Yu Wenluan's fans, Ning Shu had always been a pretty face. Even if he was a little popular now, they all thought that it was because of their best actor. In any case, whatever the fans did to their idols was right. Ning Shu posted on Weibo, "I wish you all the best. I wish you happiness." He was very, very gracious. When Yu Wenluan saw Ning Shu's post on Weibo, he couldn't help but feel suffocated. Actually, Yu Wenluan wanted to test Ning Shu's intentions by posting this on Weibo. Yu Wenlun was very dissatisfied with Ning Shu for making such a scene on the set. He thought that Ning Shu would come to apologize, but until now, he had not heard a single word of apology. Secondly, he wanted to stand up for Xiao Ling. Both Xiao Ling and his ex-girlfriend had gained attention because of this TV series. However, Mu Shuyao obviously had more jobs than Xiao Ling. She was on the cover of magazines, attending various events, and endorsing advertisements. Yu Wenlun felt that it was because this woman had the title of his girlfriend that she had so many jobs. Thirdly, Yu Wenlun was very unhappy in his heart. He felt that this guy relied on himself to become popular, and didn't even have the basic means to deal with him. It seemed that Xiao Ling was right. This woman had taken a fancy to his resources and fame in the entertainment industry. Burning the bridge after crossing the river and getting rid of the donkey after it has outlived its usefulness. How could such a person become popular? The heavens must be blind. The more Yu Wenlun thought about it, the angrier he got. Hence, many comments appeared on Ning Shu's Weibo. To sum it up, it was nothing more than kicking people out once they became popular. She was so ungrateful that she dumped him after relying on a man to get to the top. Ning Shu looked at the comments of the internet water army and rolled her eyes. She seemed to be the one who was dumped. Was he blind or something? Ning Shu posted on Weibo, "I was dumped by someone. She insists that I dumped her. Be reasonable." Ning Shu posted on Weibo and then continued with his work. "No one can stop me from earning money." Then, she read the scripts that Sister Zhao brought over one by one. What made Ning Shu even more surprised was that she actually received a notice from the director of Autumn in My Heart, asking her to go for an audition. Ning Shu was speechless. Should he go or not? This was the script that Ning Shu had sold to a famous screenwriter. If she really went to the audition, it would mean that she would have to face Yu Wenlun again. Of course, he would go. Ning Shu went for the audition. She wanted to be the female lead, but in the end, she couldn't cure her cancer and car accident. Since it was the female lead, she would go. Previously, she had no choice but to be the second female lead. If she didn't act, she wouldn't have a chance to show her face and the current situation wouldn't have happened. This female lead was a relatively weak character. Ning Shu had to restrain her aura. Especially when she died of cancer in the end. Ning Shu wore plain clothes and no makeup to the audition. The outline was written from her memory. She was still very clear about the female lead's character. Pure and lovely. Ning Shu's outfit was very suitable for the character. Ning Shu's previous character was a vicious woman. Now, she had become a weak person with a brother complex. Ning Shu didn't dare to believe that this character had changed so much. After the audition, Ning Shu got the female lead. If Xiao Ling hadn't come to fight for it, she would have been the female lead. The male lead was an actor with clear and gentle eyebrows. He was very polite to Ning Shu. After the role was decided, the final makeup photo was taken. Ning Shu leaned on the actor with a slightly melancholic expression. The final makeup photo was uploaded to the internet and it started to be promoted in all aspects. At the same time, Yu Wenlun's studio also started to announce it. Then, something awkward happened. The two companies wore the same clothes. Moreover, it wasn't just an ordinary copy. The character settings were the same, the plot was the same, and the introduction was the same. This was completely plagiarism. It depended on who was plagiarizing who. The people who were watching the show were extremely excited because the male and female leads were Yu Wenlun and Xiao Ling. The female lead on the other side was Yu Wenlun's ex-girlfriend. Now that they were clashing again, it was really messy. These three people were responsible for the entertainment gossip during this period of time. Both sides were stunned. On Ning Shu's side, the scriptwriter first thought of the bastard who sold her the outline. Not only did he sell the outline to her, but he also sold it to others. Xiao Ling was even more stunned. Fuck, how could someone write this script? She remembered that no one wrote it in her previous life. Why did it suddenly appear? Xiao Ling panicked and explained to Yu Wenluan, how could someone plagiarize me? What's going on? Yu Wenluan frowned. He felt that this matter wasn't so simple. Who else saw your script? Yu Wenluan asked, think about it carefully. This concerns the reputation of our studio. If the other party sues us, or if we sue the other party, we have to show enough evidence. Think about it carefully. Who else has read your script? Yu Wenluan asked very carefully. He wanted to find a way to turn the tables and take back the ownership of this script. The more Yu Wenluan asked Xiao Ling the more flustered Xiao Ling was. Her heart was beating very fast. Why did this happen? I didn't show it to anyone, Xiao Ling said with a stutter. Yu Wenluan scrolled through the news on the internet. They've already taken action. The other party has posted the original draft and the outline. Yu Wenluan frowned and said, we have to show the original draft records that are earlier than the other party. Didn't you say that you started writing a long time ago? If we show the original draft, we can prove that the other party plagiarized. Xiao Ling was speechless. How could she have an earlier original draft record? Xiao Ling was so anxious that her face was sweating. Think of a way, think of a way. Could it be that she had to directly say that this thing was given to her by the system? She didn't want to be sent to the dissection table for research. Xiao Ling couldn't help but say, I used to write it in a book. Now, the book can't be found at all. This script really started a long time ago. I'll go back and see if I can find the original draft. How could there be an original draft? Xiao Ling had never thought that such a situation would happen. Chapter 1774. I should be able to find my original script. Xiao Ling's back was covered in sweat. Things were getting serious. I'm afraid it's too late. The other party is forcing us, Yu Wenluan said. Suddenly, his phone rang. Yu Wenluan went to the balcony to answer the call. Xiao Ling fell onto the sofa. She was so scared that she wanted to die. What should she do now? What should she do? Xiao Ling looked at Yu Wenluan on the balcony. Yu Wenluan was talking on the phone. She didn't know what he was talking about, but he didn't look good. From time to time, he would rub his eyebrows and pinch the bridge of his nose. Xiao Ling's hands on her legs clenched into fists. Yes, calm down. There must be a way. Xiao Ling thought of the system in her mind and asked, is there another system in this world? Otherwise, why would this script appear? I'm responsible for providing the thing. As for the same thing appearing, that's not my responsibility. The system pushed the responsibility away. Xiao Ling's heart was in a mess. You provided the script for me. Now it's the same as the other parties. Isn't this your responsibility? This script is from another world. Maybe there's a problem in this world. So, you have to take responsibility. Take responsibility, Xiao Ling said angrily. It's useless to blame me now. Now, you have to think of a way to solve this. If you can't even solve this kind of thing, how can you survive in the entertainment industry? The system went silent. This made Xiao Ling very worried. The most important thing was that Yu Wenluan's affection for her dropped again. Fuck, it dropped again. If she didn't settle this properly and let Yu Wenluan's studio suffer losses, Yu Wenluan's affection for her would definitely drop. At that time, Yu Wenluan would still be deeply in love with her. If he suffered losses to his reputation and money, would Yu Wenluan still treat her well and still like her? Xiao Ling looked at Yu Wenluan on the balcony. Her legs were shaking. She had to think of a way. Yu Wenluan kept rubbing his eyebrows. His face was very ugly. The other party had already sent a lawyer's letter. It looked like they were going to go to court. Even if he lost the person, he couldn't lose face. Plus, who knew what would happen? So be it. Yu Wenlun hung up the phone and thought for a while before calling his ex-girlfriend. His ex-girlfriend was the female lead. Ning Shu looked at her phone. TSK, Yu Wenlun actually took the initiative to call her. Ning Shu answered the call. Before he could say anything, the other party said, Mu Shuyao, what's going on? Ning Shu rolled his eyes. How would I know what's going on? Your script is the same as mine. You're asking me what's going on, and I should be the one asking you what's going on. Our script is written by Madame Chen Xiang, who specializes in romantic love stories. Who wrote your script? I'll investigate this matter thoroughly, but don't accuse us of plagiarism. This script was written by Qiao Ling, a long time ago, Yu Wenlun couldn't help but say. Ning Shu said, oh, so it was written by Qiao Linger. She's really talented. She can even write a script. What is the meaning of this? Don't target Qiao Ling, for no reason, Yu Wenlun said in a low voice. Ning Shu, I'm so scared. I'm protected by the core values of socialism. This has nothing to do with me. Why are you looking for me? My new drama has been delayed. With Qiao Ling, her standard, she can still write a script. You can ask her which university she graduated from and what scripts she has written before. These things require some foundation, Ning Shu said directly. Some things only needed Ning Shu to do a little research to find out. One moment she wrote a script, the next moment she wrote lyrics and composed music. Did she really think that she was a genius? If she was a genius, she wouldn't be lost in the crowd. She relied on a system to become a genius. To forge iron, she had to be strong and treat these external forces as her own strength. This kind of illusory feeling was like a castle in the air. It seemed very impressive, but in fact, it had no foundation at all. A little change was like a sand castle meeting water, and it would be washed away. Moreover, Qiao Linger's focus was on acting. What script? Writing songs and composing music were just means to win over men. Some things, if one thought about it more, would have many loopholes. Yu Wenlun was silent for a moment. Then, he asked, what's the situation on your side? I don't know what's the situation. Why are you asking me? Don't think of getting any information from me. Ning Shu was on the phone while browsing the web. The scriptwriter, Chen Xiang, directly listed her original script, the time she wrote it, and all kinds of changes were saved. There was also a lawyer's letter saying that he wanted to go to court. Chen Xiang's heart was weak. She could only make the first move to gain the upper hand and test the other party's reaction. There was no movement from Yu Wenlun's side at all. Yu Wenlun's fans were very anxious. They rushed to Weibo and asked Yu Wenlun to show the evidence. Yu Wenlun had no choice but to call Ning Shu and get some insider information. Ning Shu's heartlessness made Yu Wenlun's heart stifled. He was indeed a heartless person. Now that he didn't need him, he kicked him away. Oh, I have something to do. I'm hanging up. Ning Shu hung up. Now that he had something to do, he would look for him. It wasn't a one-sided breakup, right? Could it be that Yu Wenlun wanted to give her a chance to curry favor with him? Ning Shu pursed his lips. Why should I curry favor with you? You really think you're the boss? Ning Shu supported Chen Xiang's Weibo post. Anyway, this matter was very lively on the internet. There were all kinds of guesses and all kinds of insults. It was like a carnival. Yu Wenlun was hung up on without hesitation. Ever since he became the movie king, Yu Wenlun had never been treated like this. Especially when this person was his ex-girlfriend. It was obvious that she was kicking him when he was down and kicking him to the curb. Yu Wenlun felt that he was being used more and more. Pa! Yu Wenlun lost control of his emotions and smashed his phone on the ground. The screen of the phone cracked into a spider web. It was a terrible sight. The phone battery was even thrown out. Phone, it's my fault. Xiao Ling was shocked when she saw Yu Wenlun so angry. In her heart, Yu Wenlun was a steady person. Xiao Ling had a bad feeling in her heart. Why did this happen? Yu Wenlun calmed himself down. Then, he went into the house and said to Xiao Ling, the other party wants to go to court. What's important now is to collect evidence and pull the winning side to our side. Go back and look for the manuscript. Xiao Ling, what manuscript? Did he want her to write one by hand? Then I'll look for it. Xiao Ling, didn't dare to face Yu Wenlun now. It was a little scary. Moreover, his favorability had dropped again. Are you kidding me? Yu Wenlun looked at Xiao Ling, and asked, tell me honestly. Did you really write this script? Chapter 1775. Yu Wenlun was actually a little suspicious. The other party was a very famous screenwriter, and Xiao Ling, was a novice. Anyone would believe that she was a professional. Although Yu Wenlun had a good impression of Xiao Ling, he still had to ask about such a big matter, even though he knew that it might make her angry. However, this was related to the reputation of the studio and his reputation. It wasn't easy for him to become a film emperor. He didn't climb up step by step. It was related to his future. If he lost the lawsuit, he would lose money. It wasn't a small loss. He had to ask about it clearly. When Xiao Ling heard the other party's words, she felt uneasy and unhappy. Her small face was full of anger from being wronged. She couldn't help but ask, what do you mean? Are you doubting me? I wrote this script word by word in the book. Although I may not be able to find the book now, the script was written by me. They plagiarized my work. Xiao Ling felt very wronged. She heard the system prompt that her favorability with Yu Wenlun had decreased again. Now, it was only 70. The favorability that she had worked so hard to get back had now fallen again. How could a man's heart change so quickly? Xiao Ling cursed in her heart. When she gave him the script, he was so happy. Now that something had happened, he only knew to let her solve it. Xiao Ling's eyes were filled with tears. She couldn't bear to see it. It has already happened. What we need to do now is take the initiative. As long as you tell me that this script was written by you, I will find a way to make the ownership of this script fall into our hands. Xiao Ling's heart was a little weak, but she still said firmly, this script was written by me. I don't know why someone plagiarized my work. As long as you're the one who wrote it, we'll be fair and square. Go back and look for evidence. I'll take care of the rest. I won't let you suffer. Yu Wenlun was like a man, protecting Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling looked at him with admiration, but her heart was burning. She was riding a tiger now and didn't know what to say. Should she tell Yu Wenlun that she didn't write the script? Wouldn't that be telling him that she was a plagiarist? But if she didn't say it, she couldn't find any evidence. So, she was in a hurry to go back and write a manuscript. This system was simply a scam. She hid after getting into trouble and didn't think of a way to help her. If she was really accused of plagiarism, how was she going to survive in this industry? This matter was a stain on her record. When people saw her and talked about her, the topic would be plagiarism. Xiao Ling was filled with regret. If she had known that someone had written this script, she wouldn't have taken it out so quickly to please Yu Wenlun. It was all because of the time when Yu Wenlun's ex-girlfriend made a big scene on the set when they were filming a Xianxia drama. She didn't know when to back down and spoke rudely, making her very embarrassed. Yu Wenlun's favorability towards him started to drop. In order to increase his favorability towards him, he took out this script. If it had been just a little bit later, maybe this wouldn't have happened. It could have been completely avoided. Or was it because he was too anxious and couldn't keep his cool? After this matter was resolved, he would have to think twice before doing anything in the future. If she wanted to be famous, she needed a strategy for men as well. However, she had to protect herself first. Xiao Ling's mind was filled with thoughts. Since her rebirth, she hadn't encountered any difficulties. She went directly to Yu Wenluan's set and successfully attracted his attention with her beautiful appearance. Then, she relied on the acting skills that she had honed in her previous life to make Yu Wenluan feel that she was an acting genius. After that, with Yu Wenluan's recommendation, she successfully snatched the female lead role from Yu Wenluan's ex-girlfriend and became famous. It was very smooth. Compared to her previous life where she could only play a small role, her starting point was different. It was very high. Everything was smooth sailing. Now that the plagiarism incident happened, Xiao Ling's heart was very anxious. She didn't know what responsibility she would have to bear. Apart from the system, Xiao Ling was just a mediocre third-rate celebrity in her previous life. The system provided help, but it didn't give Xiao Ling the corresponding vision. After leaving the system, when something happened, Xiao Ling was at a loss. She couldn't even think of a way to solve it. She was afraid that her target would find out that she had plagiarized and his favorability would drop to negative numbers. Then, her previous efforts would be wasted. She had too many worries, making it difficult for Xiao Ling to get off the tiger. Xiao Ling asked Yu Wenluan tentatively, "What will happen if I'm convicted of plagiarism?" Yu Wenluan heard a trace of something wrong from Xiao Ling's words. He quickly asked, "You didn't really plagiarize, right?" Xiao Ling immediately waved her hand and said, "How could I plagiarize? I just want to ask, if I'm wrongly convicted, what kind of consequences will you bear? If we're really convicted of plagiarism, the other party will ask for compensation. Even if it's just to hype up, the other party might ask for a lot of compensation and will ask for a public apology." Yu Wenluan had a headache. They would lose millions for no reason, and they would ask for an apology. A public apology, this was the most unacceptable thing for Yu Wenluan. A person lived by his face, a tree lived by its skin. Especially those who were in the entertainment industry, they would simply peel off their skin and throw it on the ground and step on it. Then, his image in the hearts of his fans would collapse. The beautiful image that he had established, the flawless moral character, would collapse. His movie's box office still needed the contribution and promotion of his fans. It was related to his own future, so Yu Wenluan couldn't help but be anxious. A script actually costs so much money. Tens of millions. Xiao Ling's face turned pale. She had never seen so much money in her life. Maybe she could earn so much money in the future, but she didn't have it now. Was she going to bear a huge debt from now on? The more Xiao Ling thought about it, the more pitiful she became. It made people's hearts ache. So you have to go back and find any evidence. This is related to our reputation. You don't want others to talk about you and me as plagiarists in the future. Yu Wenluan waved his hand and told Xiao Ling to hurry back and find evidence. He didn't want to see Xiao Ling now. No matter what, this script was given by Xiao Ling. The trouble was caused by Xiao Ling. Although he had a good impression of her in his heart, compared to his career, Xiao Ling was obviously inferior. Moreover, Yu Wenluan didn't love Xiao Ling to the extent that he didn't love her. The entertainment industry was a very realistic place. Yu Wenluan also relied on his own efforts to set up his own studio. Xiao Ling, damn, the favorable impression points dropped again. It dropped by 10 points in one go. Now, there were only 60 points of favorable impression points left. It was just an ordinary, like, you're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.